New for 2025. Your creativity, our latest machines. The Anthem, designed with the quilter in mind. From quilting to embroidery and everything in between. These new machines make it easier to create with joy, express your style, and craft something truly meaningful. The Splendor, the serger that makes it simple. This year's lineup is all about turning your inspiration into finished projects. With more space, smarter features, and the ease Baby Lock is known for. The Reflection, exclusively for embroidery enthusiasts. The Venture 2, our most advanced, top-of-the-line multi-needle machine. Whether you're quilting for family, sewing for fun, serging a garment, or building your embroidery business, these machines are made to support your creativity at every step. Want to see the new lineup in person? Visit your local Baby Lock retailer to experience these new machines and let the experts help you find your perfect machine.
Hey everybody, welcome to our Sewcase broadcast. I'm Linda Pacini.
And I'm Mike Johns.
And we are so excited that you're joining us here today. Many of you are probably at your local Baby Lock retailer, and I'm hoping that as we go through this, if you've got any questions about the product, turn to your retailer and get some answers. I think this is a perfect time of year, Mike, for us to be talking about product with all of our consumers that are at the retailer store, because we've got a lot to talk about.
We really do. And you know, the thing is, we're so lucky because we have BLT every year.
Yes, which stands for Baby Lock
Tech, right? And that is how we introduce the new product to your retailers. So this is our chance now to kind of say, hey, this is what we talked about during BLT, and let you get a little close-up look of kind of what we introduced this year and what's new and what's out there.
Yeah, so if you watched the video that we just played, you probably noticed that there's a wonderful video that goes through some of the products, but we've got them here on set with us. And so, Mike, let's take a peek, because we brought some beautiful samples that have been sewn on some of these machines.
Well, let's start with the one that's right behind you, because
yes, for sure.
I know personally you made this sample.
Yes, but this is actually, this is done on the Splendor. Yes.
But the Reflection is our embroidery only machine. So this is going to give us that lineup a little bit down below between the below the Altair 2. But it has that 9.5 by 14 inch embroidery field, which, you know, really and truly, that is such a good size for a field. Most of embroidery nowadays is 5 by 7 or larger. Right. So having a 9.5 by 14 really opens up a lot of possibilities.
Yeah. So I love this machine. You know, the Reflection turned out to be a machine that had so many more features than meets the eye. So look at this massive embroidery field. So we just love that, in addition to the fact that this is an embroidery only machine, and it does an amazing job. And I think that for somebody who's interested in having a machine that can just embroider while they're sewing, because you need to have at least two machines, one that sews and one that embroiders.
Yes. I think we all have more than that.
We're not going to talk about how many machines I have, but anyway, we're talking about the Reflection here first, and this is a beautiful sample that was done on that machine. And it has wonderful ways of being able to get your design positioned exactly where you want it to go. So let's talk about what's right behind you.
Yeah, so this is our new 8-thread serger. This is our Splendor. So this will fall right below our Triumph. And this is actually going to give you that cover chain stitch as well as your overlock stitch. And it works beautifully with stitching garments. But of course, we've got a garment up here, a knit garment, that easy to sew once you're on an ovation, or once you're on a serger. But honestly, the thing is we have to remember that sergers are not just for garments. The sergers are for everything, right? And people often ask us, like, where do sergers fit into our life? Look at the hem of your clothes.
Yeah, exactly.
That's a serger.
Yeah, I can't sew without my serger. And you did at the beginning, we talked about this little dress. What I love about this, I made it for my granddaughter, but what I love more than anything is if you look at it, things like this is a belt loop binder that we use. This is all done on the serger, between the piping, the pin tucks, and also the decorative stitching down at the bottom. And I even gathered the fabric to the dress itself using one of the feet and attachments that can be used. So I think that sergers have a lot of possibilities. And Lori Hernandez is going to be showing off that machine for us very soon here.
And Lori is a whiz with the serger, so you guys will really enjoy that.
Yeah, and then lastly, we have the Baby Lock Anthem. You know, Mike, I love this machine, and it's been a long time coming, in my opinion, simply because of the fact that we've been hoping to get a new quilting machine in our line, and this is it.
It really is. And the first thing is, hopefully when you guys see this, pop of color.
I love the plum.
Right? You might have noticed on the reflection, we put the plum in the kind of the little line there, but now you have the entire lid here. And that's a really easy way on our lineup to kind of look and see what machines features or what machines have what feature. Is it a solid color top or is it a striped top? That kind of thing. But this actually is such a beautiful machine. And it sews like a dream.
It does. And we're going to have a wonderful demonstration on this as well today. And so some of the things like this extension table, some of these unique feet, they all come with the Anthem now. So if you're in the market for a machine that can quilt all the beautiful quilts that you create, this is definitely a machine to take a look at. Now, I want to point out, Mike, you did the sample.
I did.
And I love this. And what's that done with? That's not embroidery.
This is actually your tapering stitches. So one of the features that is on this machine and on some of our other machines, we've been introducing it here lately, is the fact that we have a whole category that gives you a choice of 20 different stitches that you can actually turn into tapering stitches. And for each one of those stitches, you can actually set the entry taper and the exit taper. And there's multiple ways to determine how long that stitch is going to be. So just with manipulating those tapering stitches, we kind of created like a little flower bed up here on the back of the jacket.
Yeah, well, I'll tell you what, looking at these samples, it truly inspires me. But you guys are in for a real treat today because we have some of our best in class educators that are going to be we forgot the Venture 2. So the last machine that we want to talk about is the Venture 2. And Mike, you're the one that's going to be demonstrating on that machine.
Yeah, so multi-needles are obviously my passion. I love multi-needles. I love all of our machines, obviously, and I have all of them at home. I don't know if that's a good thing or a bad thing.
That's wonderful.
But the Venture 2 is our upgraded version of our 10 needle. And this is going to introduce some really great features that are great for someone who's looking at starting a new business or something like that. But also, what a great machine for just the personal home sewer, right? It's not something that's business only. It's for everybody. It's really for anyone who wants to do things. It really simplifies things when you have that free arm, and it makes it to where you can sew things that might have been a little bit harder to hoop on our flatbeds. We'll be talking about that and kind of looking at the features that are inside of that. So great machine, and we'll kind of wrap up the day with that.
You're going to have a lot of fun showing. I know everybody's going to be interested in seeing about the features of that. So we've got a wonderful lineup for you. Our Baby Lock Sewcase is the first time ever that we've done this. We think it's an excellent opportunity for you to get an up-close peek, especially at these machines that might just have to go home with you today. And so we have a nice list of people that are going to be joining us. Do you want to start us off with who we're going to have?
Yeah, so our very first person is, she's known by everybody. I think she has such a great following, but it's going to be Lori Hernandez. And Lori has been with us for quite some time as one of our top educators. And the great thing is she has this great program called the Search Fun Club. And in that, she teaches all of our consumers how to do these wonderful projects that her and her daughter Alyssa come up with. And they actually go out and teach you hand on hand every month to do that. But Lori has been a whiz at all of the machines, but specifically the serger for so long now that it's just kind of was, we didn't have to think about who was going to do this. We knew who was going to do it.
Well, and I also want to mention that all of our machines come with a 60-day trial membership to our entire video vault. And so when you're talking about getting a new machine, for a lot of people, it gives you a little bit of concerns because you're thinking, I don't even know if I'm going to be able to master it. Between your Baby Lock retailer and the individualized lessons that they give to you, and also our entire video vault, I promise you, you're going to be able to really learn a lot about your new machine. And so after Laurie, I want you guys to know that we are going to have some prizes that are going to be given away throughout this broadcast. So after Laurie, then we're going to have Karen, who's going to be doing the reflection. Yeah. And then after that, we have
Barb, who is another one of our educators. She's going to be doing the Anthem. And then, like we said, we take a quick break after that.
We're going to take a 30-minute break, but we're still going to run some content, which will be a perfect time for you to talk to your retailer about maybe some of the questions that you have, maybe even enough time to bring up a sale if you want.
Oh, we can do that really fast.
We can do that fast. And then what we're going to have next is we're going to have Missy Billingsley is going to be joining us. Now, Missy won't be live, but she recorded some video content for us. We're going to bring her here virtually, and then we're going to finish up with you on the Venture 2. So we've got a lot of wonderful presentations that we're going to have, and I think we need to get started. So I know that, Laurie, you've been kind of waiting in the wings. So welcome to the Baby Lock Sewcase, and let's just hear a little bit about what you plan on showing us.
Hi everyone, I am so happy to be with you here today. really excited about what we're going to get to see today, all of the wonderful new things, and very, very happy to share with you the new Baby Lock Splendor. Let's look at the Baby Lock Splendor together. Now, like Mike and Linda said, sergers are fabulous and can do amazing things. If you are a person that has an overlock machine and you are ready to incorporate cover stitch and along with your overlock, or chain stitching along with your overlock, this is the machine for you. You'll notice that we have space to the right of the needle. That really sets us up for a great opportunity for us to be able to create more and really embellish more with the stitches that we can create with our Baby Lock Splendor. So all that space to the right of the needle, and you might notice I have my sewing table installed on my serger. One of the features that I absolutely love to be able to do with my cover stitch feature on my Baby Lock Splendor is pin tucking. We'll do that in just a moment. If you'll notice here up at the top, we have a magnetic area. When you're changing those needles, you have a really easy way to just store those needles right up there at your fingertips. You'll also notice, let me just scoot just a wee little bit there, you have a set of stickers that come with your Baby Lock stickers with your machine here that will really prompt you to know whether your presser foot is down or up. And that is really something great to have as well. But another thing that is incorporated and included with your Baby Lock Splendor is the new trim bin. You may not think this is a big deal. No, I think you do think this is a big deal. We can now just slide in our trim bin very easily to catch all of those threads whenever we are stitching and cutting fabric off. I'm so excited about this. This serger is fast, it's fun, it's amazing, and what a quality experience. When you have all this space in this area, it really gives your hands the opportunity to move freely when you're changing those needles, and I change my needles often. I just really have fun going from stitch to stitch. But today, I'm just going to quickly share with you pin tucking. And if you'll notice, I have the pin tuck foot installed on my Baby Lock serger. With the pin tuck feature, we'll be using our cover stitch 2 and 3 needles. And I've also incorporated this little accessory that comes with your pin tuck foot. Now, here I have some fabric, and I've actually folded it in half and pressed it. I love starting in the center, but of course you could start on the side of the fabric as well. This is a feature that I do often. In a little bit when I finish sharing these little techniques with you, I'm going to show you some of my projects and ways that I've incorporated this application as well. Let's stitch a little bit. Now, if you notice on the end of the presser foot, there's 2 little notches. That actually lets me know a visual guidance for where I may be stitching. And since I folded my fabric, I'll just visually guide the fold in between the 2 notches, which represent our needle positions. Let's go ahead and serge. Now, when I'm pin tucking, I like to just let the fabric slide behind the presser foot, and then I'll just clip that thread. And if you'll notice that the presser foot to the right, it's a little shallower and a little bit less room from the needles to the right of the foot, but we have more space from needles to the left of the presser foot. So typically what I do, I always just align the left edge of the presser foot along the right edge of the previous tuck. So let's do that and serge another tuck. Isn't this relaxing? I tend to get started pin tucking and then I just keep going, and before you know it, I have pin tucked very fast, quickly, and easily whatever fabric I'm wanting to embellish. Let's stitch one more pin tuck. Now you'll notice once we've tucked, our little tucks are still standing at attention. When we press these over, they are pressed and you will see the most pristine and beautiful tucks. I happen to have some here that I've already pressed. Look how pretty this is. Now, on this fabric, you might think, Lori, I can't see that well. Well, I've used a busy fabric, and I love to create texture and dimension to create subtle effects. And that's what we're doing here. In a minute, I'll show you the project that will sport these pin tucks. So it's really fun to be able to create pin tucks on printed fabric. Maybe you're creating yourself a blouse and you're just wanting to have some flashy, fun fabric to embellish. This is a great way to do that. And as you can see, those pin tucks on your serger, your Baby Lock Splendor, that pin tuck foot, fast and easy. Now, maybe you want to create some corded pin tucks. We can do that as well. If you'll notice, this little accessory here will come off. I'm going to open the door of my Splendor. See how that just slides open? I'll remove that little accessory. And this little accessory, like I mentioned, comes with your pin tuck foot. Your pin tuck foot also comes with a corded tuck accessory as well. Here I have it. Oops, let me grab that. Here I have the corded tuck accessory, and it will fit on the end of your needle plate just like a little glove, and then I'll close it. I have some white fabric, some more delicate fabric here, and then I have some yarn. What we'll do is grab our yarn, and you can use different types of yarn. Here I have a couple of different. Let me show you this one. This is like just a standard 4-ply, and this one's a little bit thinner. But since I'm using a white fabric, I thought I would just demonstrate with a little pink delicate fabric thread yarn. So we'll take our yarn, and I usually use my little Allen wrench that comes with your Baby Lock Splendor, and we'll just slip that yarn in the little opening of that attachment. How easy is that? I like to raise my needles up, raise my presser foot, and I just bring that yarn to the back. And then I'll take my fabric that I've folded and pressed so I have a little crease line, and I'll just slip it up underneath the presser foot. And now we'll serge away. Now, if you notice, the yarn that I have is one long piece of yarn. If we're incorporating quite a few corded tucks, just keep your yarn attached. Again, you'll trim your fabric behind the foot and the yarn, but my yarn's still connected. Look how pretty that is. And as you can see, hopefully you can see that on the camera, you have a little bit of a shadowing effect with that pink yarn. How fun is that? And beautiful. This would make a beautiful little child's garment with some very delicate little accents. Now let me share with you here. In this little piece, I've already tucked a few pin tucks in the center, and then I created corded tucks to the left and to the right. Let's turn that over. Look how pretty. The back is just as beautiful as the front. Here I have that brighter yarn. It's a variegated, just a standard yarn. So that gives you the opportunity to create different effects as well. We could even use the back for the front. Notice how I have standard serger yarn, and you could coordinate all those different threads and yarns to create a masterpiece. And the reason why I'm really sharing with you the pin tuck foot is, again, we have all this space to the right of the needle for the Baby Lock Splendor. Again, I'm so excited about that trim bin. You also have a knee lift that comes with your Baby Lock Splendor. So if you wanted to use your knee lift when you're creating your pin tucks, that gives you a great, easy, fast way to just raise that little presser foot, slip your fabric back in there. So your knee lift is a great option when making pin tucks. Are you excited about this serger? I know I am. Maybe again, you have a 4-thread only machine. This is a great time for you to jump up to the Baby Lock Splendor, or maybe you just need a second machine in your sewing space, or maybe a travel machine. This is a little bit of a smaller footprint than my Baby Lock Triumph, so this is a great one for me to be able to pack up and roll with it wherever I want to go. Now that I've showed you a couple of my favorite things to serge using my Baby Lock Splendor, Let me share with you a couple of the projects that I've incorporated these features with. Okay, remember we were tucking on that bright, flashy fabric. Look how easy this is to create such a pretty effect. And as I turn that fabric around, even though it's a very deep, dark fabric, it still creates texture and dimension. Maybe you love to create home deck options. We can also create some really beautiful tucks on pillows and accent in your sewing room as well, in your home. Now, if you're like me, I'm in the South, but I loved when I began learning how to sew and serge heirloom garments. So being able to create tucks on my Baby Lock Splendor with that pin tuck foot, it's fast, beautiful, and easy. Look how beautiful those little tucks are on the fancy band, as well as in the yoke of this little dress. Let me set this aside, and then I'll grab maybe something you might want to sew for yourself. Oh, I have embroidery here up front, but let's check out these sleeves. Look at the sleeves. So here I've incorporated some beautiful tucks just on the top of the sleeve. A couple of little accents is all you need, and it really brings this sleeve from plain to boutique, professional, something that it looks like we've really paid a lot of money for. I love those little accents that make such a big difference. Now remember, corded tucks as well. This is an option too. And I just had to share with you one of my projects that I've incorporated corded pin tucks with. How pretty that yarn is. How pretty, pretty, pretty and sparkly, but really easily. I've used the back of that stitch and that yarn, allowing it to really be the focal point of this project. Now, before I leave you, I want to mention one other thing. We also have the option for the overlock compact table, the compact overlock table. How fun is this? I want you to make sure that you check this out. This is an additional accessory. You'll be able to use some of your other accessories along with this one. We have that space to the right of the needle as well with a compact overlock table, and that is definitely going to give us additional options to have some really fun serging opportunities. Linda, what do you think about all these features, the Baby Lock Splendor, and creating with this beautiful Baby Lock serger?
Yeah, Laurie, it's an amazing machine. There is no doubt about it. And I love the fact that you were able to go through so many of the different techniques that I kind of like talked about ever so briefly when we were talking about the dress that I made over here with the Splendor. But, you know, I think that you touched on it just a moment there, and that's this overlock table. And it's just so that everybody kind of understands the beauty of this is that when you're doing overlock serging, for example, when you're trimming off the edges of your fabric at the same time that you're serging, what traditionally happens is that you just have a knife cover. But here, what we've done is this is a optional part that you can buy, and it allows you to use your different attachments actually on the machine at the same time that you're overlocking. And so, Laurie, you're such a experienced sewist. I know that you just intuitively know about seam allowances, but one of the things that people really struggle with is that, and I love the fact that we have that extra table for the Baby Lock Splendor.
A must. I'm so excited that we have that option for the Splendor. Yes, me too.
Yeah, fantastic. Well, thank you so much for joining us, Laurie. I'm going to talk a little bit more about the machine, and then I'm going to go into some of the special things that are coming with our limited time promotion. And so thanks so much for joining us, Laurie. All right, so while we're talking about the Baby Lock Splendor, a few things that Laurie mentioned. I love the fact that we now have this trim bin, and it just slides so easily onto the machine, and it goes into an area that traditionally always had like this little magnet piece, but now you have this trim bin. And I don't know why I got so excited about having a trim bin on a machine, but I have to admit, I think it's one of the best features. Now, what I also have over here, and Lori didn't talk about it, but this is a new compensating foot. And I can't say enough good things about this foot. You know, a lot of times when you're serging, what happens is if you've got fabric that is a little bit uneven in terms of thickness, what this compensating foot does is it allows you to be able to serge fluidly with your foot on, and it'll help accommodate fabric thicknesses that kind of vary in your project. And so here's the machine. This is the knee lift that Laurie was talking about. All this additional space. It's a huge upgrade from our previous version, the Accolade. But what I wanted to do is take a moment and talk to you about some of the things that are coming in our limited time promotion. And this is while supplies last. But I want to mention that we have this beautiful Aerolock thread set. This is from our good friends at Madeira. And when you open this up, it has a number of different colors of thread. And there are, let's see, it even shows them on the outside here. So you get 4 cones of green, this light blue, navy, pink, red, and this lavender. These are actually colors that I use quite a bit. I also love that we've got this serger accessory foot package. And when you look at this, I'll point out that the ruffling foot, this is the one that I used on my garment. And I also used the pin tucking foot that's included in with this kit. So this is also coming with it, in addition to this wonderful set of Class A overlock and cover stitch needles. So everything that you need to get started. So if you take home a Baby Lock Splendor, you'll get rocking and rolling right away, and you'll be able to start stitching. So if you've got any additional questions, your Baby Lock retailer, I know, is going to be happy to answer them. But it is time for us to do our very first prize drawing. So I'm going to have Julie get
Linda. So as we alluded to, we're going to draw 5 prize winners today. So we have a great bundle of Baby
I'm going to
Lock
hold this so you can kind of show
logo
everybody
items. So we have this neat Baby Lock logoed spray bottle here.
Yeah, so you can do a little water while you're pressing, or maybe a little spray starch you can put in there, which would be fun.
Exactly. And then one of my favorites is this cute Baby Lock bucket hat. So it has some of our cute sewing icons on one side, and then we have, you can turn it around and it's our Baby Lock logo on the other side.
Love it.
And then let's see, we also have our cute Baby Lock belt bag with our logo. And I know this is one of your favorites, Linda.
Love this. I love it. You know, I want to put the Baby Lock logo. Well, I've already got it on this, so maybe it'll go on the other side. All right.
And then let's see, we also have our Baby Lock woven labels that you can add to any of your projects. And then we have this really handy phone charger that's portable.
Right.
And also has our logo on it. Yep.
Whoa, and lastly, we have this beautiful mug. So I always have to have a little coffee or tea with me while I'm stitching. So every one of our winners receives every one of these items. Is that right?
That's
okay,
right.
Very good. Yep. All right. So you ready to do the drawing?
Yeah. So our first prize winner is going to come from one of our retailer stores. It's Stacy's Styles and Stitches in Rome, Georgia. Right. And their winner is Melinda Duke. So congratulations. We'll be sending this prize bundle to you.
Yeah. Congratulations, Melinda. Thank you so much, Julie, for the prize. I think that's, whether it's taking home a brand new machine or having some prizes sent to you, regardless, it's wonderful to have Baby Lock merch with you while you're sewing. Thanks so much.
Yep.
All right. So what we're going to do next up is we're going to have Karen Parker joining me with the Baby Lock reflection. All right. So Karen, I don't know if you've been watching our broadcast so far, but Lori really did wow everybody with the serger. But I know that you're going to be doing some things with the Baby Lock reflection that everybody's going to love. So do you have something fun planned for us?
Absolutely. But there's so many fun things you can do. How could I just decide on one?
You're exactly right. Well, I'll tell you what, I know you've got a lot to show. I'm going to let you go, and we'll see you when you're finished.
Okay, that sounds great. Thank you so much. I tell you, I am so pleased to be here to let you know, to give you more information on this really wonderful machine. And I'm going to show you a few of my favorite things. So first of all, what I'm just so impressed about this machine is the obvious, which is size. Okay, so just being able to get my hands in here, I can get my eyes in there, I can see what's going on. It's a very comfortable place to work around. Okay, but we also have this 10 and 1.1 inch color touchscreen that you can easily view your designs before starting the stitching process. That's one of the really nice reasons that you have this nice screen. And it also, having this nice screen, allows for accurate placement. You can better visualize your color choices, and you can make adjustments on the screen with confidence. And anything that gives me confidence in my embroidery process is a huge plus. Another thing about size would be the size of the hoops. And I know Linda mentioned this earlier, but it does come with the 5x7 and this enormous 9.5 by 14. And I'll put that over to the side. Having the bigger hoops is one of the benefits is embroidering multiple small designs, which can streamline your workflow, help you save time. But it also helps you easily stitch larger designs without rehooping. And we really like not having to rehoop if at all possible. So I want to show you something I put in here, just so would help me describe about all the different hoops that this machine will recognize. Not only is it the 9.5 by 14, but also the 12 by 8, the 9.5 by 9.5, the 8 by 8, 6 by 6, 4 by 4, 1 by 2.5, and the 12 by 4 border frame, and 2 magnetic frames, the 5 by 7 and the 7 by 12. And it's worth noting too that the diamagnetic hoops up to the 9.5 by 14 are recognized as well. Okay, let's get rid of that, and we'll say okay. Now I want to show you a fun little project that I worked on, playing with all the built-in things in this machine. It's amazing how much is there. So this little Christmas hanging, I have it all mounted. You can see that I used the wreath, which is one of the 24 built-in designs. This is 008. That's the number of that design. And I took it and I dressed it up a little bit. I made it an applique, but I made it a circle applique, not the actual outline of the little parts of the wreath, the little holly leaves and things. I dressed it up some more by using the stippling key. And then with the stippling key, I was able to put in a background fill that's built in. And after putting in the decorative fill, I thought, well, I need a little bit more detail, something to really frame this out. So I pulled out one of the little elements from the utility embroidery pattern category of built-in designs. And I'll show you that in just a minute. And I built that using the border function key. So there's so many things to get in here. Just get in there and play with it. It's just great, great fun. So let's take a little tour where I'm not going to go through the entire process, but just give you some little tips and hints on how you could accomplish something like this. I'm going to set my design, and it's in the center of the hoop. I'm not going to resize it or anything right now. I'm just going to leave it as it is. I like its size, but I want to put a applique around it. Now, what I could do, just to show you the difference, I could touch the applique key, and you see how the applique really forms right around the edge of all the little holly leaves. So that's not really what I wanted. I wanted to really showcase all those little holly leaves, and I can't do that with all that stitching right around it. So what I'm going to do, and let's undo that. Instead, I'm going to pull out one of the 140 frame combinations, okay? So we're going to add. We're going to go to our frames. Frames is this category number 4. Now, it doesn't really matter which one of these I choose exactly, because what I'm using it for is to give me a place to put the applique. I don't even have to stitch it out later, but it's going to be there to help me get this circular applique. So it's really hard to see now, I know. So let's go to Edit and go to Size, and we're going to increase that size, and I think you're starting to see it now. There we go. So that's going to be where my applique is going to go. So I'll say OK. That part of the design is still selected. Let's go back into creating an applique for it. I think the 0 distance is just fine for this project. I'll say OK. And now I have my applique built. Well, the other thing I wanted to put in there was this decorative fill. So right here is our stippling button. We'll push that. And it immediately goes to the 9.5 by 14, but that's not really what I want. I want 6 by 6. So let's toggle through the hoop sizes until I get to 6 by 6. I'm going to leave the distance as it is, but you know, I didn't really want that stippling. Look at these other choices I have up here. Okay, let's go to the decorative fill. Now that may not be the decorative fill that I'd like. So I have a button right here that will let me select. It'll take just a second to generate. There they are. This is 001, the one that was default. Let's choose 003 and say OK. And now that is the decorative fill pattern that is surrounding my applique. I'm going to leave the distance the same, and I could change the size, but for today we won't do that. Let's give it a preview, see what it looks like, and I'm starting to like this quite a bit. Okay, let's give that an OK. Now, as you see, I've got these little elements, and there's a whole bunch of them. Now, where did I say I got that element? Well, surprise, surprise. And I'm going to go to Add. And right here is our utility embroidery patterns, number 5, right there. So we have decorative stitches, we have buttonholes and eyelets, and right here we have these little decorative elements. I think you can see that 006 is the one I used. So I'm going to choose that and say Set. Now I know it's a little hard for you to see right there. I'm going to zoom in just a little bit. Maybe that helps. But another thing I'm going to do is just give it a different color so you can see what I'm doing. And right now, I don't really care what color it is. I'm just going to get it over here so you can see what I'm doing. Okay, so I'm going to place this up here on the top left corner. And I need a whole bunch of them. So is there a way that I can create them easily? Oh, I have this border function key. This is just so fun and easy to use too. So I want this pattern to repeat over to the right. In this case right here, what it's the default is created repeats vertically. This one will create the repeats horizontally. And if you look over here, we also have one that will give you a matrix. But that's not what I want to do this time. What I want to do is go horizontally. Once I've chosen that, let it know that I want to go horizontally, I can add horizontally either to the left or either to the right. So let's go ahead and add these in. And one more. I'll give it a chance to catch up with my mouse. There we go. Okay, so I do know that they need to be adjusted over to the left just a little bit, but you can see what's happening here and how I built that part. Okay, we'll say okay. And at this point, they are grouped. You see this little button right here? That means they are grouped, and it won't let me duplicate them. So I'm going to ungroup it and duplicate. And this is where I'm going to have to regroup it again to rotate it. And this way I can start building that frame all the way around. So many things in this really lovely, lovely machine. Just so much fun. You might can see too that here I have one more little element, and that is also one of the elements. I'm going to say okay and go to Add. Go back to my utility, and I think it's down on the next page. Yes, number 020. This one right here is what I have up in the corners, but I chose to stitch both parts in the same color to give me a more unified look on this frame. So that's just amazing. Get in there and play with it. It will just surprise you at all the things that they're available and you can play with and create some really cool things. So the next thing I want to talk about is pattern placement. And Linda mentioned this earlier too about how easy it is to position patterns with this machine. So I want to talk about its real feature, which is the 2-point positioning function. Now this is great and let me return here. We'll get back to where we were. Let's go all the way back, go home, and we clear that screen. There we go. But I want to talk to you about that 2-point positioning. Now this is great for aligning patterns, and I have a sample right here, believe it or not, with like a button placket, for instance. So you can see how I had to align it perfectly along the edge here. And not only that, this one had to be perfectly aligned here, and they had to be perfectly aligned this way so that they mirrored each other. Now, I will tell you a little hint. When you do mirrored designs like this, and I should step back and say I did embroider this one in one hooping and this one in one hooping, but I measured and drew my marks, my positioning marks, at the same time. So if you're going to do mirroring designs on something that is split down the middle here, it's much easier to mark it all at one time. It makes your second hooping a lot more easy to actually get done correctly. So that's pretty cool. But another thing I figured out was I could use the 2-point placement with edge-to-edge quilting in the hoop. Now here's a little bit that I had played with here. And this is a design that I had created, so it is not built in. But I'm sure a lot of you who do edge-to-edge have a stash somewhere of wonderful designs that you'd like to be able to use. And this is a great machine to do that with, having the 2-point placement to help you place each one of those repeats. Now, the first thing I did was, and I will say, here's my little template that I started off with. I printed this out from my software, which is Palette 11, and a little bit more about that in a minute. And not all of you may have the ability to print out your template, but I'll give you another little tip. One of the things that you can do to get your own template is to hoop just cutaway stabilizer and stitch it out on that. Then you can draw your lines and your perimeter, anything that you need to help you get started with your placement for your edge-to-edge hooping in the quilting in the hoop. Let me get that straight. Let's see. Now, another thing, gracious. This machine and its wireless capabilities. Now, I really, really like, and here I am on my phone at work, right? Let's find my IQ monitoring app. All right, and I'm going to pull up this design. I have to set it. You go to embroidery, and this app is going to recognize, there it is. There's the design. I love being able to monitor if I have to get up and maybe go check on something that's on the stove or check on the laundry or whatever while I'm working. I can carry my phone with me to make sure that everything is running smoothly. If the machine stops to change colors, it will alert me. It lets me look at the time that it takes to stitch this out, my needle position, and the thread color that it's using. But one of my favorite things, if you didn't know this already, was it gives me a thread color list. Now, this is great for maybe just taking a screenshot, taking it with you to your favorite Baby Lock shop, and purchasing your threads that you need for that project. Okay. Now, speaking of wireless functions, the Reflection is compatible with the free program Design Database Transfer. This is a design management tool. It helps you manage the embroidery files that are on your computer or that you put on your computer later. It makes very quick work of viewing and sending designs to the machine. And the transfer formats are PES, PHC, PHX, and DST. Now, I'll remind you that it is a window-based app, and you can find it on the Baby Lock website. Okay, so I've saved my personal favorite for last. Okay, those of you who know me know that digitizing is my thing. So I adore Palette 11 embroidery design software. And I'm going to tell you right now, the Reflection and Palette 11 is a match made in heaven. One of the things I can do with Palette that I can't do with just Design Database Transfer is I can not only send designs wirelessly to the machine using Palette, but I can also retrieve designs and send them back to the computer so I can edit them in Palette if I choose. And for those of you who are collecting the design suites, the decorative fields and motifs can be added to the pattern folder on your C drive. And once you do that, you can use them in layout and editing. Layout and editing is one of the 5 programs under the Palette 11 umbrella. And that's where I do all my design work. Now, Palette is a great creative tool. It's one of my personal favorites. And if you have Palette, and you can imagine and create wonderful embroidery on nearly any embroidery machine, including the reflection. In other words, with Palette, you can embroider your dreams, and the reflection, and you can embroider your dreams, and the reflection is the perfect machine to watch those dreams come true. Now, one of the things I would like to show, though, is real quickly. I did a little 3-minute video. Can we show that video about the 2-point placement, just real quick, and we'll end up with that. So you can see here, I've drawn a rectangle on my sample fabric, and this rectangle is going to represent a pocket, say like a pocket on a shirt or maybe a pocket on an apron. And what I'd like to do is this word reflection, I like to be able to align it perfectly along the top edge of this pocket. Now we all know how tedious it can be to hoop an item perfectly. So here I have hooped my pocket in a very wonky way, so you can easily see the way the 2-point placement works. Here we're at the embroidery screen, and the embroidery pattern is actually in the center of the hoop. On the left-hand side, you can see the actual needle position in my hoop. Now under layout, we have several tools, and the 2-point placement is the one at the very bottom of the list. So we'll give that a little click. Here is asking us to choose a reference point for aligning the pattern. So we're going to choose the lower left corner, which in our case, it represents the top left corner of the pocket. We'll press next. Now this screen is asking us to set the direction we want this embroidery to go. And this is the reference point, and we want it to go from the reference point over to the right. We'll say next. Now these are the positioning keys, and this is going to move the hoop until the position of the LED pointer and the left top edge of the pocket are aligned. So let's watch that happen. There we are. Right there. Okay. I'm pleased with that position. I'll press next. And again, we'll use the positioning keys to move the hoop to align the position of the LED pointer with the second marker. And in this case, it's the top right corner of the pocket. And that looks really, really good. And we'll say set. And notice how the word reflection is now at an angle. And it's just the perfect angle and the perfect position for the top of my pocket. Now this is some spectacular 2-point placement. It's absolutely wonderful, and you see how easy it is to use. Hey, Mike.
So much, Karen. Now, just a little bit of chit chat with you on this, right? The reflection is an amazing machine, and I know you had a lot of fun with this, but I have to say, very impressed with how you brought in so many features to do your sample, right? You went through not only bringing in that internal design, but also coming in and using those built-in shapes, which, you know, I'm a big fan of those because I don't think they get the love that they need, and you're showing exactly how we can use those to create beautiful and simple appliques, right? And taking and throwing that in combination with those built-in decorative fills. You know, one of the things that we've really become known for is our IQ designer program. And the reflection does not have IQ, but in a way, you kind of get some IQ just because we have that built-in decorative fills, the built-in stippling, and even our built-in echo quilting that's in there as well. So I love the fact that you use those all together. And then showing off that border feature. Like, I know you and I have talked about the border feature before. It's such a cool feature, right? And the fact that you're using that to make your frame beautiful. And showing off that 2-point placement, you know, I know you and I are kind of a little spoiled and we like to use cameras and lasers and stuff like that. But hopefully you're just like I am. As soon as you start playing with the 2-point placement, you really fall in love with it, right?
Absolutely.
Yeah. And talk about precision. You can't get any more precise than that, right? So, but you did a beautiful job. Is there anything on this machine that you were kind of surprised by when you first got your hands on it?
Well, I've spent a lot of time talking about the 2-point placement simply because that amazed me the most. I'm going to be totally transparent. I had never used 2-point placement before. And so I was the perfect person to show this off, and to be amazed because, like you just said, I've been spoiled with so many of the big bells and whistles. This is wonderful. I mean,
Yeah.
I wish I had it on every machine now.
I know. I'm right there with you. It's like, actually, we always joke and we say, we always play with these machines, just like our job is to figure it out and to kind of try to figure out all of the opportunities that are built into those machines. The
Mhm.
first time I touched 2-point placement, I was the same exact way as you were. I was kind of like, I've got all these bells and whistles available to me on other machines. This is going to be so. I love it. It's
Yeah.
absolutely one of my favorite positioning tools right now that
Mhm.
is on any of our machines, and we have it on a couple of our machines nowadays. So
Mhm.
I'm glad you enjoyed it. It's a lot of fun to play around with,
Mhm.
and you can't get more precise, right? I mean, as
That's
long as
right.
you follow the directions on screen. And
Mhm.
that's one of the things that you and I have talked about in the past is the fact that when we're looking at baby lock machines in general, one of the big attractors is the fact that we have that incredible ease of use, right? So
Mhm.
even though this was the first time you sat down and worked with that 2-point placement, all you had to do was read the screens, right? You
Mhm.
just followed
That's
the
right.
directions and it was pretty
Mhm.
simple, I'm assuming.
Mhm. It was.
Yeah, and you just wind up with the perfect placement in the end,
Mhm.
right? And
Mhm.
the nice thing is we know not everybody likes to read a manual. I do. I read all the manuals. Call me whatever you want for that, but I love reading them because they're fun. You find out all kind of neat stuff. But we also have tons of different resources that are available to each one of our consumers when it comes to learning your machine. Obviously, who's your biggest resource? Your retailer, right? Your
Mhm.
retailer is really going to do everything to make sure you're comfortable with your machine. They're going to introduce you to that machine through new owners classes. And hopefully they have classes that are going to be appealing to you to go out and learn your machine as well. And then, like Linda mentioned earlier, we do have that SoEd library of videos that are out there. And, Karen, I don't know about you, but I still go back and look at the SoEd
I
videos on
do.
occasion because,
Yes.
if I go to put a hat frame on a multi-needle, guess what I'm pulling
Mhm.
up? I'm pulling up that SoEd video. So, right now, I think the last time we had a count on it, and I'm going to look over to the side to see if somebody can verify this. I think we had over 1,300 videos in that library,
Mhm. Wow.
and we're adding to them all the time. So,
Mhm.
make sure if you're looking at becoming a owner of one of these new machines, take advantage of that 60-day trial if you don't already have SoEd. And then if you're more interested in actually continuing that subscription, of course, talk to your retailer. Your retailer can help you set you up with even a longer subscription to that so that you can have access to those videos for a long time to come. Now, Karen, one of the other things we have that are available to our customers is built-in how-to videos, correct?
Mhm. Yes,
And on the
absolutely.
reflection, they're on a QR code that takes you out to a website. Now, if you're like me, and I know Karen and I are really fortunate that we work together a lot,
Mhm.
and we'll talk more about that in just a second. But one of the things that's really nice about having that QR code is with the QR code, that takes me out to a website. And now I can sit there with my laptop, I can sit there with my tablet, my smart device, whatever it is, watch the how-to videos on my actual device.
Mhm.
My machine is still free so that I can actually be kind of playing along with the how-to video. So if you ever get stuck, Patty and I teach a lot of in-person classes, and one of the ladies told us at class one time, it's like having a home ec teacher that's there with you 24/7, right? Because if you
Mhm.
get stuck and you don't know what you're doing, pull up those how-to videos. They'll help you out quite a bit. So lots of resources that are out there. So Karen, can you tell me one thing that going forward, how are you going to use that reflection in your daily uses?
Oh my goodness, I really love the size of the hoop. So much of my personal work is building things, building handbags in particular, and I love having a large frame to work in. So that's probably one of the things that, and of course, oh my goodness, how can I not say something else about Palette 11? You and I both are in Palette 11, practically every day.
Yeah, absolutely.
And having Palette, I'm not limited in one way at all with having. I'm not limited at all with palette. Let's just leave it at that. I'm not limited.
Right.
I can play around with it. again, that hoop size really helps me out. And then, of course, with the other machines that I have in my stash and other hoops that I've accumulated over the years, so many of those hoops are compatible with this machine.
Yeah, absolutely.
So the dime hoops, that's when I was working on the edge to edge quilting in the hoop. That's what I used, one of those magnetic hoops. One, just to practice, and two, to make sure that what I believed to be true, which was it would recognize that hoop, that it was true. So.
Yeah. Absolutely. And the thing is that when we're talking about hoops are such a great thing, right? I'm a big believer that having the right tool for the job makes the job so much more fun, right? So if it's going to be better in a different size hoop than what you have currently available, talk with your retailer, explore what other hoops are available. There's other baby lock size hoops that are out there, including we have magnetic hoops nowadays that are absolutely wonderful. And then like you mentioned the dime embroidery Munster hoops. Those are absolutely wonderful as well. So if a consumer is looking at the possibility of adding something to their machine, those are great choices to have other frames available to you. Because I believe with the reflection, you get two. You get the 9.5 by 14 and the 5 by 7.
Correct.
So wonderful, two beautiful sizes, right? Those two sizes are excellent. So I think really and truly being able to play with those really gives you a lot of options. But well, Karen, thank you so very much. You did an amazing job showing off that reflection. I can't wait to see what all you create with it going forward. But if you have any questions about the reflection, make sure you just take a minute and talk to your retailer in store. Let them tell you about their specials. Let them tell you about what's available currently right now. Now, one thing that kind of going back, thank you so much, Karen. Going back to kind of what Linda was mentioning a little bit earlier, we do have bundles that are available for a limited amount of time, and they're only available while supplies last. And we do have a bundle that's specifically for the reflection as well. So up here on the table, you can see that first and foremost, we're going to have a specialty cover that's going to be in that plum color that's embroidered with baby lock and gold. So that will be a great way to protect your machine when you're not using it. It goes over your machine, covers it. You would take the embroidery unit off of it while you're covering it, and it would actually fully cover the machine. You're also going to get a baby lock stabilizer premium kit. So this has a total of 6 different types of stabilizers or poppers that are inside of it. These will get you going. There's every project that you can think of, you can use here inside of the stabilizer pack that's here to take care of those, because you've got every style available to you. Now, to make using that stabilizer a little bit easier, we do have our stabilizer dispenser box. So this actually, you put your stabilizer down inside of it, and then it has an opening here on the side that allows you to pull out just enough of your stabilizer to do your project that you're currently working on. In addition to that, you're also going to get one of our Design Suite collections. Now, you may not be familiar with the Design Suite collections. These are a library of designs that we've started creating probably about 2.5 years ago that introduce different types of embroidery designs or embroidery patterns or other use kind of patterns that go in some of our machines. This is our very first all embroidery collection. So what we did was we wanted to make sure that we can introduce design suites to the full line of the baby lock embroidery machines. And this is going to work on everything from a 5x7 hoop or greater. So if you have a 5x7, you can totally use this. What this is 2 different full floral alphabets in 2 different styles. So one, you can see over here on the side, we've got this pillow that has the initials on it, the monograms on it. This is the full color floral alphabet that's inside of this. You get it both as a embroidery that is an applique as well as an embroidery that is not an applique. So if applique is not your jam and you don't want to do embroidery with applique in it, you can just do these as stitch-ons where you just stitch it straight onto the fabric without having to use the applique part of it. We also took, and if you wanted something a little bit quicker to stitch, we have kind of the outline version of that font. So the same floral font, same floral decorations that are in there, but instead of it being filled up with fill stitches to give you the colors, it's going to give you that really cool kind of outline, kind of coloring book style. I've seen some really cool things done with this where people have taken it and used like colored pencils or markers to go in and color these in. And you can also see here that we have a representation of the sizes that you get for both. So you've got 4 different sizes that are in there, ranging from your 4x4 all the way up to your 10x10. So you'll get that collection as well. And these are just embroidery designs, so they'll come in as PES designs. So again, those are while supplies last. Make sure you talk to your retailer about them if you're interested in that. and they can hook you up and tell you whatever you need to know about it. So continuing on with our gift giving, we're going to go another surprise. So we'll invite Julie to come back out here with us. And we're giving this theme music.
I like it, my walk-up music.
Yes.
Yeah, so we have another prize bundle to give away today. It's all those fun Baby Lock logo items. So our next retailer store that we drew a prize from is Country Stitches in Jackson, Michigan. So if that store wants to go ahead and draw a winner from all their attendees, we will send you the prize.
Yay, Country Stitches. Awesome. So somebody's going to be a lucky winner at Country Stitches. So thank you very much. Yep. Yeah, appreciate it. All right. So keeping on with our flow of introducing our machines to you, we're going to bring on another one of our wonderful Baby Lock educators, and that's Barb. Barb is going to be introducing you guys to the Baby Lock Anthem. Barb, are you there?
I am here. Can you hear me?
I can hear you loud and clear. How are you doing?
I'm doing so good.
Awesome, awesome. So Barb, you've been playing with the Anthem, and you're going to share all your knowledge about it, right?
I am definitely going to be doing that. I love this machine.
It's amazing, isn't it? Well, I'm just going to turn it over to you and let you have fun. So enjoy.
Okay. Thank you so much, Mike. Well, as Mike said, that I'm going to be talking about the brand new Baby Lock Anthem. Now, this machine is the greatest sewing and quilting machine. It's our top of the line. So let me take you right over to it. She is a beauty. Look at that beautiful plum color. I know they've talked a lot about this color, but until you see this in person, you won't realize how really beautiful this is. I really love it. And there's so much to love about this machine. And as I go through a few things today, you're going to see, yep, this is a pretty darn good machine. You will notice that you're going to have the same things that you are pretty well used to in a Baby Lock machine. You'll have the buttons that you just love. We've got the speed control. I always have mine on fast. I either go off or fast. I don't do anything in between. I got my foot up, foot down, thread cutters, needle up, needle down, stitch in place, reverse, and there's my go button. But here is my very favorite button. This is the button that got me to love Baby Lock in the first place, and that is the needle threader. That is a never miss needle threader, and that is exactly what it does. It never misses. So I don't like to thread needles. I don't want to fuss with it, but having that, I don't have to fuss with it. So one of the first things I want to let you know that you will get with this machine is the beauty box. Has the name right there on it. So you're not going to get it mixed up with any of your other beauty boxes, but right there, you've got all of your tools and your feet right at your fingertips. That I lose things so easily, but if I've got a place where it can go, then it's going to go there and I'm not going to lose it. One of my favorite things about that. And it's kept right there. You're never going to lose anything. All right, there's another thing this machine comes with, because what is the thing quilters want to have? Even when you're sewing clothing, anything you want to have the perfect stitches, right? You want to have that perfect 1/4 inch stitch. And sometimes that's hard to do. But this machine comes with a 1/4 inch foot with the guide. It's got that guide right on there, so you will never get a wonky stitch again. I really love that foot, and it comes with it. The next thing you're going to get, which I want to talk about, is the buttonhole foot. If you've used a Baby Lock buttonhole foot, you know that all you have to do is move that up and down to get the perfect buttonhole, right? Well, you don't even have to have a button in there, but you can if you want. If you want to have the buttonhole that matches your button perfectly, this buttonhole foot will do it. But then you might say, well, I don't do buttonholes anymore. Well, you don't have to. You don't want to button a button, you don't have to. If you're doing a banner and you want to string it up, you can make a buttonhole on each side of the banner, put the ribbon through it, and there you've threaded it through. You've got a beautiful banner that you can hang with that wonderful ribbon. All right, the next thing I want to show you is this right here. It will actually come with this stand, so you can use all those tall cones. Now, if you don't have this, that means you've got it sitting to the side, you're trying to thread it up through there, not get it tangled or get it caught on something. But this right here will fit right onto your machine, and it comes with it. So now you have the opportunity to use those large spool holders right there. That thread is going to be right for you. All right, another thing I want to talk about is something that we have gotten used to on our top of the line machines is that guide beam. You can almost see it right there. I can move that guide beam around so I can stitch on it, or I can stitch just next to it. That guide beam will give me the perfect stitch anytime I want to stitch. Now, the thing I like to use it for is when I do half square triangles. I did a quilt with 240 half square triangles. That was a mess. And I had to actually mark every single one with a pencil to make sure I had them perfectly in the center. Well, with this guide beam, you don't have to. You'll get a perfect half square triangle every single time. Another thing I want to point out is one of my very favorite features, and you saw that I just touched this button over here. That is the pivoting feature. That means that every time I let up on the gas, my foot is going to go up or down. When I step on the gas, it'll go back down. When I let up on the gas, it will go up. Now, the reason I like that is because if I'm doing applique, I've got both hands on the project. I don't want to take my hands off to come up here and touch a button. I want to keep them right here so I have a wonderful stitch and a wonderful placement. I don't want to miss that point, and I want to keep my hands right down here. So with that pivoting feature activated, that is going to automatically raise my foot. I can do one stitch at a time if I want to. If I'm going around the point of a star, I want to just do one stitch at a time, or maybe the top of a heart or around a flower. I can do one stitch at a time, and every time it will raise that foot or lower that foot. And I don't have to worry about coming up here and losing my place or getting it offset just a little bit. Or even when I'm doing free motion quilting, that will put it right in the right spot for me. And if I want to raise my foot, I just let my foot off the gas. That is one of the things I really love. Another thing that this machine comes with that you don't have to purchase separately is that extension table. That table will give me 12 more inches to the left of my needle, and I already have almost 12 over here. Do you realize how much space that is? And this machine will come with it. You don't have to make that as a separate purchase. You can take all of your projects right to the finish line. If you've got that big quilt that you're struggling with and you've got all that hanging off and it's pulling your threads and pulling your needle, you don't have to worry about it because you'll have that extension table. Another thing it is going to come with is this new compact digital dual feed foot. Now we kind of are familiar with the digital dual feed foot, but this one's a compact. If you compare, there is a pretty big difference. This one is a lot thinner. You're still going to have the belt down here that's going to drive your fabrics, and you can raise it if you want to. You can have it up or you can have it down. The nice thing about this is when you're using a walking foot, it kind of hops along the top, but this one is actually driving your fabric underneath. So if you're sewing with minky or just even heavy fabrics, like if you're doing a bag and you need to have those heavy fabrics, this will actually feed it in just nicely, and they're going to end at the same spot at the end, and you won't have to worry about having fabrics that are short at the end when you get to the end. You don't want to have that. Definitely not. Another thing this machine comes with, which is a brand new foot, just came out this year, is this adjustable zipper foot. Now you can see that it's a little longer than the regular zipper foot that we've had, and it's a little heavier. So the thing I had a trouble with the zipper foot is it would wobble around a little bit, and I didn't feel like it was really connecting with my feed dogs like I wanted it to. Well, this zipper foot will, because it's heavier, it's longer, and it's a little wider, and you've got the adjustment right up here. So you can be on the right or you can be on the left. This makes it so you're going to have that perfect placement on your zipper. I do piping a lot, and you'll see I'm going to show you some projects in a minute. I love to do piping, and this allows me to create my piping and install my piping with the adjustable zipper foot. I really, really love this zipper. In fact, I used it just this week. I had to sew in a tight little corner around some heavy, thick sides, and I couldn't get into it. But with this foot, I was able to put my needle clear to the left and be able to sew right up to the edge where I needed to be, or else I would have had to hand sew. And in my book, hand sewing is a 4-letter word. I do not do it. If I can do it on a machine, I'm going to do it on a machine. Let's take you clear over here. So I'm going to move you around just a little bit. So hang on a sec. I'm going to move you in, and we're going to go right over to this screen. I want you to see what I'm going to do over here. I want to give you full access to that. All right, so over here on the screen, we have some wonderful things we can do. First of all, it's huge. This is like the size of my iPad. It's 5.5 inches this way and 9 up the side. That is really, really big. And I love the screen because it's a touch screen. I can move it around with my finger, or I can use a mouse. I have a mouse plugged into it right now. I can use a mouse to get to where I want to be, whichever is easiest for you. You see how easy that is? But also, if I'm in here, let me go back over the decorative stitches. And I'm scrolling. There are so many stitches. Let me tell you, there are so many stitches that you'll be scrolling for days and days and days. But I also have this little arrow over here to get right where I want to be. So you can see that there's several different ways that you can use this screen. It's really easy to use. They want you to really love your machine. And I'll tell you, you are going to. The Anthem is amazing. So first of all, when I talked about doing zippers, because I love to do a zipper and I like to have my stitch right next to the zipper, not too close, but I want to have it right in the right position. So one thing that I have done is that I have picked a stitch, and it really won't even matter which one of the straight stitches up here, and I move my needle all the way over to the left. That puts it as close to that edge as I can stitch. But then I don't want to go back to it over and over again. So I'm going to save that setting into my memory. And now I'll go out of it. I'll come back into it. You can see down here, it's saved in memory that way. But what if I want to go back to having the stitch in the middle position? All I have to do is do reset. I don't have to sit and go like this and think, well, when am I going to get to that right point? I just have to hit reset. Automatically, it goes back to the factory settings. I now have a middle stitch position, and I can put that into memory. And when I come out and go back in, it is now right where it should be. So you can set up your stitches any way you want. You can customize them for whatever stitch you want to do, like I did with my zipper. You can also create your own stitch combinations. Let me go over to the decorative stitches. And I'm going to choose, first of all, I'm going to take that out. Now, if I choose that one, it's going to give me one big long one. What if I want just one portion of that stitch? I'm going to hit this little plus mark over there. It's going to give me one portion of the stitch, just one part of that stitch. I can go down here, and I want you to see how I'm creating something over here. I'm going to go down a little bit. There, that portion of that stitch is a little bigger than the other ones. I think you've got a little bit of a glare. Let me see if I can take care of that. I want you to be able to see. Nope, not good. Let's go back there. Okay, I think you can see that I am now, that one is a little bigger. You'll see that. This one just has one portion. And I'm going to put that one in again. And I'm just going to build and build and build and build. And now you can see, first of all, I have a really long stitch, right? Well, what if I want to save that? Because I want to stitch it again. Maybe I'm doing 10 quilts for a customer somewhere, and I need to have that stitch repeated over and over. I'm going to save it into memory because I don't want to have to remember where I've got it. And there I go. I have now saved that into memory. Another really wonderful thing, and we have so many buttons that lets us do this, is that I have stitched, and you can see I'm clear down here. I've stitched it. I want to stitch it from the very beginning. How do I do that? I don't want, when I go to the next part, I don't want to wonder, well, now where am I in that stitch? All I do is touch this button up here where it's the needle with a star, heart, star. I touch that one, and then I'm back to the beginning, and I will know exactly where I'm at. All right, I want to show you some stitches in my utility stitches that I really, really love. First of all, I love the serpentine stitch. If I'm going to do some quilting, and I want to do maybe some channel quilting, let me go down to there, and I want to do some straight line quilting, well, I don't do a straight line because sometimes that's hard to get just perfect. I got my serpentine stitch. And when I use that serpentine stitch, I can do channel quilting, and it doesn't matter if I'm totally straight. I'm going to use my quilt guide, of course, that's hooked to my needle right over here. But I am going to have just a beautiful stitch, and nobody's going to know if I'm a little off here or a little off there because it's a beautiful serpentine stitch. All right, here's another stitch I just love. I'm going to go over to my decorative stitches in my category 6. I'm going to use my arrows, and I'm going to go clear down to number 273. You see how many stitches I have in here? I have a lot. I want you to look at this grouping of stitches right here because this one, well, let me go to that wave stitch. There it is right there. It's telling me that's 25% right there. You'll have to look on your screen. I don't know that you can see that tiny little number. It says I've got 25% of what that stitch actually is. Okay? But it stitches out bigger than that. Let me show you how big that is. That is the stitch. That is how big that is going to get. You can see it on my screen over here in relation to the foot. And then down there it's telling you it's only 25%. And look how big and beautiful that stitch is. If you wanted to do some quilting, you could do these back to back. You would have some beautiful quilting. If you wanted to simply do a border on a baby quilt, that would be beautiful. I really love those. All right, let me talk about another stitch that's in here. There's so much to show you. I just want to get through it all. Mike talked a little bit about the tapering stitches. Let me go into this one right here. So these are beautiful stitches in themselves if you wanted to just stitch them. But it also gives me the opportunity to change the top of it. I can make it all pointed. And I'm going to say, okay. I can change the bottom of it into all these different ways to have that end. And there I go. And I can stitch this out and have that beautiful tapering stitch. This is something you need to explore because it's really fun. If you wanted to do your own custom quilt labels, you can do it. If you wanted to do with your built-in fonts, because you could make your quilt label, do a box all the way around, and I'll show you some that I've done, and add your font, your message on the inside, and you've got it. Another thing I want to touch on today is free motion quilting. I love to free motion quilt. And as I said before, that you've got it here, how easy it is to do. Let's go back over here to my utility stitches and pick just a straight stitch. Here's how easy it is to get to free motion quilting. Just touch that button. That's it. I don't have to go back here and hit knobs. I don't have to change my plate out. I don't have to do anything. Change my foot. It's going to tell me to put my free motion foot on. But that's how easy it is to get to free motion quilting. I just touch that button. But are you a little timid about free motion quilting? Do your stitches get a little wonky? Well, we have a solution for you. We have the answer to your problems. This is called the Stitch Sync Regulator. I just put that on my machine. It plugs into the back, and I can get the perfect stitches every single time because it regulates my stitch. So if you're doing free motion without it, and you practice, you'll probably get it just great. But if you want to have a little help with that, this is your girl. So I already have one hooked up to my machine. I'm just going to plug the back in. There I have it. And now look over here. It's telling me, you just have to read the screen, just follow the prompts. It's telling me to do some free motion quilting. It takes me to a screen that I can't get to any other way besides putting that foot on and plugging it in the back. Here I have 3 different modes. I can have mode 1 is intermittent sewing, meaning I'm going to have my project down and it will not start stitching until I move my fabric. It has a little sensor in there where it knows when I'm moving my fabric. I'll move my fabric and I will get the perfect stitch regulation that I can't get on my own. I go to number 2. And number 2 is where it does a continuous stitch. So when I stop, it will continue to stitch just slowly. And that makes it so if I'm doing the point on a star, and I'm going to show you that in a minute, or like we talked about, the top of a heart, if I need to go slowly around that, I can, and I'm not going to miss out on doing stitches that aren't beautiful. Then I have the third mode, and that is a basting stitch. And that tells you how wonderful you can get on this stitch sync regulator. I love this. I have played with it a lot, and I really think it's pretty wonderful. So I want to show you some samples that I have done with the different things that I've talked about. So here I've got, I know Mike showed you how he used the tapering stitches, but here I have made a square. I've done it with rounded corners, and you could put your message inside, and that is a built-in font right there. I also could do it in a square. So it's just how I plug in my ending and my starting points to be. And there I've got the square. And then I could also just do some decorative stitching. It's really beautiful. Let me show you what I did with this one. So here I have made me a little tree garden. And here I have done it with the tapering stitches. And I've tapered at the top, and I have actually put another design at the top. So this has been a combination of my tapering stitches, my decorative stitches, and my free motion quilting to create this piece. I love it. So remember I told you you could put one piece of a stitch, just one section of it. There I have made little bulbs right there with just one part of a decorative stitch. Up here I have another decorative stitch. I've just used one leaf of the decorative stitch, and down here I have taken that decorative stitch all the way out, and I have used the whole stitch. I've made it look like a little cute little twiny thing there. I've also used my tapering stitches there. This down here is one of the beautiful tapering stitches, and then I have little flowers, circles down here, and I have pockets. So this was all created on my brand new Anthem, and I have really enjoyed it. Let me show you something else I like to do. Here's where I talked about doing your free motion quilting. I have just done a solid line applique around my applique. And remember how I did the continuous stitch so it would stitch up and down even when I stopped? If I tried to do this and just do free motion up and around, I might miss that corner up there, or this one down here. With that number 2 mode on my stitch sync regulator, I didn't miss any of my corners because it would sit and stitch while I turned my fabric or made the transition to go the other direction. And then of course I just use my free motion quilting down here. I love to do that. Here is a place where I have used my decorative stitches to do an applique. You don't have to do applique with the applique stitch or with a straight stitch. You can use your decorative stitches. And you have them, so you can. So here, and I talked about, I do love applique. Here I've done an applique, and I have used the beautiful invisible applique that is built into my machine. And if you use matching thread, you will never see it. That is one of the functions of this machine that I just love. Here I have pieced all my pieces together, and I put a decorative stitch right on top right there. And I've done the same thing with this. I've used a decorative stitch after I have sewn my seams. This piece right here, I have used, this is called Bobbin Works. And if you want to know more about it, it is in your book. This is a great reference manual for you. It'll tell you everything to do with this machine. This is Bobbin Works, where I've used decorative stitches on my crazy patch. All right, here is something that you probably have not tried, but these are my decorative stitches, and I can sew them in a circle with my circular attachment, and I've simply made a bag out of it, and I have definitely put a zipper in because I love zippers. Here I have used some doodle applique. I love to do that with my stitch sync regulator, and I've appliqued around all of these pieces. I've even done a ruffle, and that is in your book. You will know how to do that. I have used my adjustable zipper foot. I have put piping in. And here is the last one I want to show you. This is more of the free motion quilting that I love to do. There I've got my swirlies up in here. I have done my doodle applique. I have created some little weeds down here. Now you could do this by hand with your free motion quilting on your machine, or you will get the perfect stitches on your stitch sync regulator. So if there's anything you can dream up on this machine, you can make it. I mean, if so you're thinking, maybe if I get this machine, will I remember everything I need to do? Well, you don't have to, because you not only have a book, you have a dealer, and then you have that 60-day love of sewing that will come with your machine. So anything you can dream up, you can make it. So, Linda, what do you want to dream up for this machine?
Barb, I'm amazed. I was listening to you go through all the features, and you hit on so much about the Baby Lock Anthem. One thing that I've got sitting over here that I'm going to point out is that the machine also comes with what we call our multifunction foot control. And for me, honestly, I love this because in the machine you can set it up. Do you want to talk a little bit about what the settings are? Because I think it's one of the best reasons to buy the machine.
I use that every time I sew. I don't even think about it. I don't even realize it's down there on the floor. But my multifunction foot control, I don't ever have to cut my thread. I have my heel kick do my thread cutting. So I have my stop and go up there. I have my heel kick down here. I could not sew without it. In fact, my granddaughter was here last night trying to sew on my machine, and she said, I just can't get used to that new foot control. And I says, well, you're going to love it when you do, because it is amazing. Thanks for bringing that up, Linda. I love it.
Yeah, thank you so much. Well, Barb, thank you for joining us. I love it. I'm going to now talk a little bit about the promotion that we have going on with the Baby Lock Anthem. For those of you who might be really excited about the machine, we're going to talk here first about the fact that we do have that same plum colored machine cover, which I love. It's got this beautiful Baby Lock logo on it already. In my hand, I've got a collection of quilting thread that can be used. And I love that Barb showed that 2-thread spool stand that goes on the machine. So, most of the time when you get into quilting, the last thing in the world you want to do is stop because you ran out of thread. I love that it does have a separate bobbin winding motor, so you can be winding thread at the same time that you're stitching. So that comes with the machine. You also get this wonderful collection of Class A needles that's made just for people who quilt. And then lastly, this has to be one of my absolute favorites. Even if you don't get the machine with the promotion, you ought to go into your Baby Lock retailer and get this adorable double zip case. It's got room for just about all your favorite supplies whenever you're going to class. I wouldn't leave home without it. It's one of my personal favorites. All right. And the last thing I want to talk about for just a moment is this sample that's here on the Anthem. And so I know that Barb touched for a moment about all of the different classes that we have available on SewEd, but we were so fortunate because our Baby Lock educator, Linda Bertine, came to St. Louis, and she videoed so many different videos on the Anthem. And so if you buy it, you're going to learn from a real expert, whether it's thread painting or free motion quilting, getting all the most out of that digital dual feed. Anyway, it's a great machine, a great product. Talk to your Baby Lock retailer. So it's time for another prize. So let's welcome Julie Getz back up here. So Julie, what? So we have to have the big fanfare. So everybody's got chills because they're so excited they might win. Okay,
yes, exactly.
What store is the winner
from?
So
prize number 3 is going to be a winner from Missouri Sewing Machine Company in Kansas City, Missouri. So that store can go ahead and pick a prize winner, and we will send you the fun Baby Lock logo prize bundle.
Yeah, perfect. Thanks so much, Julie. I know that there's a lot of people that are going to get some packages in the mail, and we all love packages, especially this time of year. All right, so we're at the part in our program where we're going to take a 30-minute break. Stretch your legs, grab something to drink, talk to your retailer about maybe one of the machines that you've seen. And remember, we still have 2 great machines coming up when we get back. We're going to be looking at the Baby Lock Radiance in addition to the Venture 2. We will see you guys back here again in about 30 minutes. See you soon. right, everybody. That's an abrupt stop. I hope that you got a chance to look at some of the slides as they were coming up. We had a lot of good information in there. And also, I want to mention to you that there was a question about the new piping or zipper foot, and that can be used on an awful lot of our machines. Leah Ralph put inside of the chat a link to our electronic accessory brochure, which can also be found on the Baby Lock website pretty easily. Anyway, so thank you for that question. So we're now going to introduce Missy Billingsley, who's going to be coming to us from a pre-recorded video, but she's got a lot of great information to share on the Baby Lock Radiance. So let's have her take it away.
Hello, my friends. How are you this beautiful, beautiful day? I'm so excited to be here. I'm Missy Billingsley, and I've been with the education team for over 20 years. So I'm thrilled to be here. Thanks, Linda and Patty, for inviting me. And today I'm going to show you some fun stuff that you can do on the Baby Lock Radiance. Now, it has quickly become my most favorite machine. I haven't had it too long because I had to make a room in my shop, my studio, for the Radiance. But it is quickly becoming my favorite, and I love using it. There's so much you can do with it. And the technology that we saw 20 years ago when I first started, and even before then, was very minimal compared to what we have nowadays. We used to have to do everything in software and take it to the machine, but now the Radiance has so many things built into the machine that you hardly ever need software unless you're wanting to do some major editing or create your own intricate designs. So I'm excited to show you some of the things we can do with it. Today I'm going to walk you through creating an applique, just a simple applique design. And then I'm going to walk you through playing with the picture play. It is incredible. So if you've ever used palette software, this is a great enhancement that we can now do in the machine. Okay, so I think you're going to have a lot of fun, but we're going to start with applique. So whether you're wanting to bring in artwork from your cell phone, or you want to bring in artwork from the scanning frame, I will tell you the scanning frame is still one of my most favorite tools. I love it. It came in with the Destiny, and it is a great tool for being able to bring in artwork. You know those cute coloring books and cute designer quilt books that people create? Well, this is from one of those, and you can scan that in and turn it into an applique in just no time. But what I've done today is I've actually brought in clip art from the web, just a cute little pumpkin design because it is fall, just a cute little pumpkin design. I'm going to show you how to turn that into applique. All right, so let's turn to the screen and let's show you how that's done. All right, so let's go ahead and get started creating that fun applique. So as I said, you can bring in your artwork from your paper scanning frame, you can use your USB, you could use your app on your phone. So I'm going to go to Google, just do a Google search, and I typed in outline pumpkin clip art. So when you select that, it's going to bring up a lot of different pumpkins. And so the one I chose is going to look like this, just a simple pumpkin outline. You could choose one with a little face, but this is just a simple pumpkin outline. Then what I'm going to do is I'm going to use my IQ Intuition Positioning app. I'm going to choose Select Image for creating design. I'm going to choose my pumpkin. And I'm going to tell it to send it to the machine. Once I click on send it to the machine, it's going to say sent to IQ Designer. You'll touch OK. And that's it for the app. You've got your image in your machine. So let's go ahead and choose IQ Designer. I'm going to choose up here in the top right hand corner my image. So this is where you bring in your custom patterns. We're going to choose line design. As I said, you can bring it from your machine, you can scan it, you can bring it from a USB. We're going to bring it in from the app. And I've already saved multiple in here, and eventually they'll start going away when you save more pictures in here. So I'm going to choose my pumpkin. We'll touch set, and it's going to bring it into this main screen. At the very bottom of the page, I'm going to go ahead and change that satin stitch to a running stitch. I'm going to change it to a darker color that you can see, and then we'll touch OK. All right, so now we're ready to touch OK again. It walks you through simple step-by-steps. Don't be afraid of it. Now I can see on here, there's a couple little spots at the top left and right corner that I'm going to have to erase. So let's go ahead and touch set. And I'm going to grab my eraser, and we're going to erase those little spots up in the corner. They may be kind of hard for you to see, but trust me, they're there. So I'm going to erase that little spot, and I'm going to erase that little spot, and I'm going to turn my image off so I can see what I have here. There you go. Looks like a pumpkin to me. We'll touch OK. Now then, if you want to resize your design, you need to select it. The easiest way to do that is to go to the very bottom of the page, and some people are not even aware of this. This is your selection tool. It looks like a dotted line box. When you select it, you have 5 different options in here. You can draw a box around it. You can draw a polygon shape around it. You can use your pen tool to do a freestyle curve shape around it. You've got your magic wand. So I'm going to do the magic wand, and I'm going to select my pumpkin. And you'll see that it's selected by giving a red box around the design. Then I'm going to go over here to size. And I'm going to resize it down. Now, if you resize with the arrows pointing in or out, that's your proportional sizing. You got your shrinking it shorter or taller. You got your skinny or your wide button. So you also have the keypad up here in the top right-hand corner. So if you choose the keypad, you can actually type in the specific size that you want your design to be. So if I touch in a 6.5, it's going to give me the option of changing the other one to maybe a 7.5. And there's my pumpkin. If you get it into this page and you're like, I really want a little bit smaller, you could still touch your size button. You can still shrink it down a little bit more. So let's make it like a 6-inch pumpkin. So it's going to be about 6 inches tall. And I could definitely use my keypad for this. There we go. 6 by 693. Then we'll touch OK. Now what you want to do is save this. Okay, save it because you're going to need to retrieve it from memory in a few minutes. So we'll just touch it, save the pattern in our memory. We're going to save it to our, you can use your machine or USB, either one. And now then, what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and take this into embroidery. This is going to be the placement line for my pumpkin. Okay, so we'll touch next, bottom right-hand corner. We're going to leave all the details as is. On the Radiance, you can actually turn off the undersewing, so it's only going to sew around this one time. So we're going to touch our undersewing, turn it off, touch OK, and touch Set. Touch OK again. And now that is ready to be my running stitch for my placement. Now then we'll touch Add, bottom left corner. We're going to go back into IQ Designer. We're going to recall the pattern. We're going to go into our USB, and it's going to save it into that B pocket. There's my pumpkin. Touch OK. Now then, for this part, I only need the stem of the pumpkin. Only the stem. So I'm going to make this larger, and I'm going to move it around a little bit. I'm going to grab my eraser, and I'm going to start to erase. Okay, so I'm going to come in close to the stem, but I want to leave the bottom part of the stem. So I got a little too close. There we go. Eraser. There we go. So you're going to erase all of these lines. If you zoom in real big, you can get super close to the outline without affecting the other. Okay, so erase all those lines. You can use your pan tool with your little hand to kind of scroll around. I'm going to choose my eraser again. Okay, now that I've broken my eraser, my lines with my eraser, now I can come down here to my select tool, choose my magic wand, and select just the lower part of the design. Select that, touch the cut button, and that deletes it off of the screen. Touch close. And now, just for safety's sake, I'm going to save that pumpkin stem into my memory. Okay, so we're going to touch our memory pocket. I'm going to save it to my USB. And we're going to touch Next. Next is going to take us to our editing page so we can take a look at it. It shows me it's a running stitch, which is perfect. It's going to be my placement. It's going to be my tack down line. And then we'll touch Set. Touch OK. And now we have an overall placement for our pumpkin. We have a tack down for our stem. And let's go back into Add. Go back to IQ Designer. We're going to bring the stem back in. Okay, we're going to bring the stem back in. So we're going to retrieve from memory, go back to our USB, B pocket. There's our stem. Touch OK. Now then, I need to think about this because when I'm creating an applique, I'm going to make it really big. For this pumpkin stem, I've already tacked it down. I don't want to stitch the bottom across here. So grab your eraser again, and let's erase this bottom part. Okay, so that bottom line is erased because my pumpkin is actually going to cover that. So we'll leave it as is. We'll touch OK. We'll touch next. I need to change my settings though because I still have it set for a running stitch. So I could change it on this page or I could change it on the previous page. So if we touch up here in the top right hand corner, I'm going to choose a zigzag. And I'm going to choose a brown. Touch OK. And it changes the color and everything for me. Now for my density, I'm going to bump the width of my applique up just a little bit, and you'll find what you like the best. A 0.20 in inches is a pretty good measurement. That measurement, if you want to see what it is in millimeters, if you go up to the machine settings, go forward one page, change to millimeters, you'll be able to see what that measurement is in millimeters. That's actually a 5.0 millimeters, which is a little wide for a satin stitch. So let's bring it down to maybe a 4.0. We'll touch OK. And if you like that, it looks good, you can bump up your density just a little bit if you like. We're going to leave it. We're going to touch Set, touch OK. And now I've got my pumpkin placement, my stem placement, my stem tack down. Now I need a tack down and a finishing stitch for my pumpkin. We'll touch Add one more time. Go back into IQ Designer. It's many steps, but once you create it the first time, you guys, you save it and you can stitch it as many times as you want. Recall the pattern, USB, B pocket. Now I need my whole pumpkin because I'm going to get rid of the stem this time. Okay, I'm going to zoom it in. Let's try that 400% again. So now I want to keep all of my pumpkin except for the stem. So I'm going to touch my eraser. And I'm going to erase my stem because my stem is already over in embroidery, ready to be stitched. Okay, I'm going to zoom in just a little bit more. You know, once you zoom in bigger, touch your icon out here because then your eraser gets bigger as well. Okay, that looks pretty good. Let's scooch over the other side, see if there's any little dots we need to get rid of. Just 1 or 2 little pixels. All right, looks good to me. All right, so there's my pumpkin. I'm going to change this color just for a visual, and I'm going to change my settings. So my running stitch is what I want to stitch, and I'm going to change to just a dark green, something that y'all can see on screen. I'm going to touch my bucket and change my color. So there's my dark green. Touch next. Touch Set. Touch OK. So there's our parts. We have our placement overall lines for our pumpkin. We have our tack down for our stem. We have the satin stitch for our stem. And then we have the tack down for all of our pumpkin fabrics. If you wanted each of these to be all 3 different colors or stitches or whatever, you would need to erase and apply each one. So we need to grab one more set of stitches. And I should have saved my pumpkin without the stem, but I didn't. So I'm going to retrieve from memory the same pumpkin from USB. There's my pumpkin. Touch OK. Now then I need to go back in here and erase the stem again. I should have saved it in between. Okay, eraser. There you go. Zoom in a little bit more. Get that last little bit. Perfect. Same thing over here. Whoops, almost too close. That looks good. So now we want this as a satin stitch. I'm going to change the color to orange this time because I want it to be a pumpkin color. So I'm going to choose my zigzag properties. We're going to choose orange, kind of a dark orange. There you go. And I'm going to leave it as a satin stitch. Touch your bucket, touch your line, touch next. And now we can make our changes again. So last time we went to what, about a 4.0? So we're going to do the same thing. Touch OK. And there's our pumpkin. Touch set, touch OK. And now that's ready to stitch. Now when you go to stitch this, let's look and see what it stitches like. Let's group it all together. So right down here at the bottom, we're going to do a multiple selection. We're going to select it all. So it's going to turn everything pink. We'll touch OK. And now we'll go to edit and group. And now let's see what that's going to stitch like. Okay, zoom it in. Push the play button. And let's go. So it's going to stitch my placement, my tack down for my stem. Then it's going to stitch the placement and tack down for my pumpkin and the finishing stitch. And how cute is that? All right. So be sure and try that. I want to see what you do, but that's how easy it is to create a pumpkin with IQ Designer. So go ahead and touch your save button to save it to memory so you don't lose it. And there you go. Now, wasn't that so easy? You could use all types of fabric when you're making applique. You could use glitter vinyl, you could use fancy fabrics, lamés, satins, you name it. You could fill it with stitches, you could leave stitches out, you could do all sorts of things. But one thing I do recommend is always using a fusible backing on the back. So when you fuse your applique fabric down to your base fabric, it actually adheres, because there's nothing worse than getting bubbles when you're doing applique designs. So that's one of my favorite things to use on when I'm doing appliques. It's a fusible web on the back, and there's many different products. Just grab your favorite. Okay, so now then, the Baby Lock Radiance also has what we call picture play. It is phenomenal, you guys. So with picture play, you can take a picture like this one. I'm just grabbing a little tiger picture that we have and turn it into a stitch file. So all we did was grab this picture off the internet. It could be a picture of your grandkids, your kids, anything you want it to be. We grabbed a picture, brought it in. You can bring it in via USB and straight to your machine and open it up and turn it into a picture. So it's incredible. If you've ever worked with Photo Stitch in Palette software, it is very similar to Photo Stitch. The steps are just a little bit different selections in the machine versus in the software, but there are some incredible things that you can do with it. The whole education team has had a field day playing with the picture play, and Mike Johns especially. I'm gonna have to tell Mike, you've got to show you the picture of the hamburger that you did and mango. They are incredible. The hamburger looks like you want to pick it up off the fabric and eat it. It is amazing. So I'm going to show you real quick how you can play with picture play to make your own pictures come to life. So let's see how that works. So let's go ahead and play with picture play a little bit. Now this is the one that I showed you before that we did in picture play. It is beautiful. Okay, so as you open your screen, you're going to have picture play right down here on the front. Okay, so we'll select picture play. You can bring in your design from your app. You can bring it in from your USB, which is what we're going to select. We're going to choose, we saved it into a tigers folder, so we're going to choose the tiger. We're going to touch set. And on this next page, you can actually change the size of it. If you want to make it smaller or larger, you can do that. For time's sake, I'm going to make it smaller. But down here at the bottom, you also have the background removal. So you can remove the background from your image. You can use the frame the image, which will create like a little circle around the image, a rounded square, or a square shape. And then you also have your fit to frame. I'm going to choose fit to frame, and I'm going to come down to about, let's go back up here to settings. I'm going to put it back in inches for just a minute or two. Touch OK. And I'm going to choose, I don't want my 10 5/8 inch square. I want a smaller hoop. Let's try like a 6x6 or even a 5x7. Let's do the 5x7. We'll touch OK. Then we'll touch next. And then you have 10 different styles to choose from on these. You have some that look like cartoons, some that look like pencil sketches, some look like pop art. And so a lot of fun playing with these different settings. We're just going to stick to the original. So if you want it to look like a true picture, just stick with the original and try that. Then we'll touch next. And it's going to generate this picture into stitches. Now, part of the reason I'm using the original is because I want to do some pictures of like our dogs, and different celebrations. My niece is graduating in December. She's getting married next year. So I want to be able to do some pictures with her that, that look more true to life. So that's one of the things I want to do with Picture Play and play with it some more. But it is going to be so much fun, and everyone that has seen it just loves it. And like I said, you can do all types of pictures. The education team, they've just blown me away with what they've done. So I've enjoyed seeing all of the different picture plays that everyone's doing. But now if you want a picture that has just kind of a focused image, make sure that you have a lot of contrast between your background and the image itself that you're wanting to use. Okay, so if you have a subject in your picture and you want to take the background away, make sure you got a good contrast there. Okay, so here's my tiger. He looks pretty good. He's got 15 colors. I chose a Madeira poly thread, and here's all your different colors. You could actually pin the colors in place if you think that you want to use a specific color for sure, but let's see if we can reduce the colors, because 15 is a lot of colors, right? Let's reduce it. I played with 9 earlier. Let's see how 9 does. So I'm going to reduce it down to 9 colors, because what it does, it's a lot of shading and a lot of blending of the threads. So we're going to touch preview, and we're going to see what it looks like when it drops down to 9 colors. There may not be a whole lot of difference. And if there's not a whole lot of difference, then why wouldn't you try and have a few less colors in your stitch arsenal than you would if you had to stitch all 15. Okay. 15 is for sure going to give you all the detail in the world, but 9 will probably give you a good amount as well. Okay, so it's just regenerating, recalculating the stitches. It's creating the design for you. We used to only be able to do this in software. So it's pretty amazing what the Radiance will do now. Just when you think it's going to take forever, then it stops and it's regenerated the stitches. Now, I can't really tell much of a difference in what that looks like with 9 colors versus 15. It looks like it might have lightened up the nose a little bit, but I'm going to go with it. I think that looks pretty good. So we're going to touch set. It's about an 85-minute stitch out. So, and this is a 5x7 field. So just know that it's not a light stitch count design. So let's go ahead and touch set. It's a design that's going to definitely take some time. It's going to convert to embroidery, take it out of Picture Play, touch OK. And there's your design ready to be stitched out. So it is incredible. Now, if you go in here and watch it stitch, it's going to stitch all kinds of crazy. Let's go ahead and hit the play button. And you can just kind of watch it stitch and see what it does. And you can see, do you like the colors it's using? I would recommend using its suggested colors as best you can to start with. And then if you want to try some different colors, then you can try it. Because I've seen some and where they thought, oh, that color is not going to look good there. And then when they changed the colors, it really should have been left as it was. So it's just fun watching it come together in that stitch out. So let me zoom it up a little bit. And it's just amazing how it applies the stitches where it thinks it needs it to be. Now you can see its eyes coming to life. So there you go. I hope you all had fun with me for this short time that we spent together learning about the Radiance and a few of the things you can do. There is truly so many things that you can do with the Radiance that you couldn't do 20, 25 years ago. So I hope it opens up a world for you, your customers, your friends, anybody who wants to play with the Baby Lock Radiance, because it is truly an incredible machine. So I hope you enjoy using it and making fun stuff with it. And I can't wait to see what you do. Be sure and share pictures all over all your social media channels so we can follow along. So, all right, Linda, that was a lot of fun. Back to you.
Well, I'm not Linda, but thank you so much, Missy. Wonderful, wonderful job on that. And we so appreciate you taking the time to film that for us at a time and share everything that you love about the Radiance. The Radiance absolutely is just a wonderful, wonderful machine and one so much fun to play with. I know all of us here at Baby Lock that are on the education and training team, and even anybody else in the area that's using our machines, we all love it too. And, you know, the possibilities that are there are kind of incredible. Now, Missy mentioned in the picture play that I had to show you too, including my hamburger or my cheeseburger and my mango. So I've got that because we have to listen to Missy. We don't go against Missy. That's bad. So here is the cheeseburger itself, and I'll let Jim get a shot of it there for you. But this was done, this is unaltered. So this is really just going in, pulling in the artwork itself, and then clicking through without making any changes to it whatsoever. So this is 15 colors. It's about, I think I actually put it in the 10 by 10 hoop whenever I stitched it. As Missy mentioned, the larger the hoop is, the longer it's going to take to stitch. I think this took probably about 5 hours to stitch total. It does have 15 colors in it, but like I said, that's absolutely no changes whatsoever. And everybody here is like, we're really daring you to take a bite of it. Well, my mouth is not that big, so I can't take a bite of it. But it's really turned out cool. Now I've got the French fries ready to stitch. I just haven't had time to stitch it yet. But one day we will have French fries, hot dogs, and potato chips, maybe. And then this is the Mango. So for those of you who don't know, I have a puppy that's a Labradoodle. That her name is Mango. She just turned 4 yesterday, and I cartoonized her using AI, and then I brought that cartoon clip art in. So when you're doing photo stitch or picture play, rather, you don't have to use real photos. You can use clip art. You can use drawings. You can use anything you want as long as it comes in one of the 4 format or one of the 3 formats that's acceptable inside of picture play, which is JPEG, and that's JPG, not JPEG, PNG, and bitmap, which is BMP. So those 3 file formats can be read. As long as they're in those file formats, you'll be good to go. You can also take and combine them with other features inside of the machine itself. So here's just a cute little Easter bunny, and then you notice after I did the picture play part of it and brought that into the embroidery side of the machine, I used the built-in fonts to add in Happy Easter. So once you bring it over from picture play into the actual embroidery edit screen, all of your editing tools are still available to you. So you can add additional designs to it. You can put a frame around it. You can turn it into applique. You could go in and play with the colors. Now, Missy did mention when she was talking about colors that she highly recommended that you try to use the colors that are shown. I'm going to actually stress that a little bit different and say you have to use the colors that are shown, because if you change one color in the actual stitch out, it's going to change the way the actual final picture looks, because what this is doing is using a stitch that's not used anywhere else in the machine. It's a stitch called the scatter stitch, and that scatter stitch leaves openings in the actual layers of threads so that the other colors that are laying underneath it are blending together with those top colors. And then that way you get that optical illusion of having hundreds of colors in your design versus just having those 10 or 15. So make sure you do follow that. If you watch training videos on this, you'll see we teach you how to go through and actually change those colors to your own color palette, to whatever you have in your sewing studio. So in keeping with our tradition of giving away prizes and special things, we're going to bring Julie back out and we're going to do our prize for this little section. So come on, Julie.
We'll see what I can come up with. But our next prize bundle winner is going to be from Fenton Sew and Back in Fenton, Missouri. Woo! So go ahead and draw your winner and we will ship you your prize.
Or we'll just drive it around the corner. Yeah. This is literally around the block. Yep. So congratulations to our Fenton store. Yeah. Yay! Congratulations. Right. Awesome. Thanks. All right. Thank you, Julie. So for the final little segment here that we're going to do, we're going to talk about this beautiful machine sitting here to my side. This is the Venture 2. So this is our top of the line 10 needle machine. Now, a lot of people will look at this and go, oh, it looks so complicated, or it looks so hard to use, or I don't have time to learn that. Or one of my favorite things is, I don't have room for this. And then they walk across the room and they look at the Radiance, which has twice the footprint, right? So This is such a fun machine, and it really does simplify a lot of the things that whenever we're doing a lot of embroidery can be challenging. So if we're doing something that is going to be sewn together tubular, right? So think about like even like a shirt. So if I wanted to put something here on the sleeve of my shirt, or maybe, you know, we just had Halloween last night. Maybe you wanted to customize some Halloween trick-or-treat buckets. Maybe you're doing some stockings coming up for the Christmas holidays. Any of those kinds of things, when we look at doing those on a flatbed machine, like our Anthem or our Reflection or our Radiance, we have to get creative with how we hoop, because our hoops are laying down flat, and so is the bed that's underneath it. So to make sure we're not sewing through multiple layers of our project, we have to kind of get creative and use things like clips, or we have to open up seams, things like that. We don't have to do that whenever we're working with a multi-needle machine, and that's because of the free arm technology that is part of that machine. So if we look down here at the front of the machine, you'll notice that this is the free arm. So my needle plate is sitting right here on top. If I open this up, you'll see my bobbin area inside. So this is a front loading bobbin. And then all of my needles, all 10 of my needles are going to be coming over this needle plate here. So what that means is as I go through and I get ready to hoop something, I'm going to hoop it so that the part that I'm sewing on is going to be here on the needle plate, but everything else is going to be suspended down below that free arm. So it's going to allow me to not have to do some mental gymnastics or even some really complicated hooping techniques to go in and be able to sew things, and I'm not going to have to take out any seams. So if I wanted to do the sleeve of my shirt, I can literally just take and insert my sleeve so that it is over that free arm portion of the machine, and I'm not having to open any seams to go in and stitch, okay? Now, if we talk about it looking complicated, I'm going to give it to you. I'm going to say, yeah, when we look at this first time and we don't know what this is and we haven't spent any time playing with a multi-needle, it can look a little intimidating. I'll give you that. But here's the thing. Imagine this just being your flatbed machine turned up on its side, because that's really all it is. If I was to follow one path of my spool of thread here, it goes from the back, and this is just my threading path, right? So I'm going to go through my thread tree up here, go down, go through a tension knob, go down to my take up lever, and then down to my needle. And here's what's really cool about this is I have my automatic never miss needle threader on this machine, just like I do my flatbed machine. So I don't have to hand thread every one of these needles. I can actually just thread the threading path. Once I get down to the needle, I'm going to use that never miss needle threader to make sure that it threads the needle for me. So once I get it threaded, I'm just going to simply move through and do the other 9 needles. Now, you may think to yourself, do I have to do that every single time I go to do a design? No, you absolutely do not, because the way that your 10 needle is set up, all I'm going to do is take my thread back here in the back, cut it, tie a knot on it for the new color, and then reach down where my needle is, pull that thread forward until I see the new thread, trim it off, because right here on the front, all of these little tabs that you see, these are actually thread cutters. So I can trim off my thread, use my automatic needle threader to trim that needle thread again, and then pull it through the needle itself. So simple to change my thread. Unless you break a needle, unless you break the thread itself, you probably aren't going to have to rethread the machine from scratch again once you do it the first time. All right. So a lot of times when people pick up a multi-needle for the very first time and they start working on it, they're a little slow as they go through this, because you're learning the process, you're doing it. But by the time you've been sewing on this for a couple of days, maybe a week or so, you will be super fast in changing your thread colors, okay? The other question we get about thread is, what happens whenever I have a design that has more than 10 colors? This is how smart this machine is. It actually tells you where to put what color on the thread stand. So up here on the back, I've got 10 spots for my thread, right? And that makes sense because this is a 10 needle machine. And each of these are numbered, and kind of keeping in the theme of ease of use when we're talking about baby lock machines, this is going to be included in that, because my spool placement is numbered, my actual thread stand is numbered, my pathing is numbered, my tension discs are numbered, my take-up levers are in sequential order, and then down here at the bottom, the last guide that goes through the bar itself, the needle housing bar, it's numbered as well. So all we have to do is connect the dots and follow the numbers, and we'll make sure that we have it in the correct position. When we also go in here and we look at what we have available to us on this machine, we have a wide variety of hoops that are available. Now, if you think a little bit earlier when Karen and I were talking, one of the things that I mentioned was if I have the right size hoop, that's going to make the project that much more simplistic to do, right? If I'm trying to put a baby's onesie in a 14 by 14 hoop, I'm not going to be a happy camper because it's not going to work. But if I have that baby's onesie and I have a 5 by 7, that's going to make sense to me, right? So having those options for different size hoops is really going to become handy here. So what size hoops do I have available to me? Well, Jim's kind of showing you over here on the table, but the smallest hoop that we get with the machine, this is going to be your 2.5 inch by 1.5 inch. So it's technically 2.4 inches by 1.6 inches, but you know, we have to simplify it in our head to be able to remember it. But this is great for things like monograms, or maybe you've got a new grandbaby in your life, hint, hint, Patty Marty, and we needed to do some ruffled socks, right? We could come in and do those here, right? So anything that's small, anything that's simple. We get asked a lot of times, can I embroider on the side of a hat? Yeah, I sure can. And this is a great way to put simple things on the side of a hat, right? So your small hoop, that's really going to become in handy. Then you also have your 4x4 or your 100 by 100. Now, I apologize, I don't have the outer ring on this, and I don't know why, but there is an outer ring that goes on this. But this is your 4x4. This is probably one of my favorite hoops, is the 4x4, just because it is so incredibly useful. You don't realize how much you do that fits into a 4x4, right? 5x7 is probably the more popular over the 4x4, but the 4x4 is such a great option. Speaking of 5x7, we do have the 5x7 as well. And then our largest embroiderable field in a single hooping or a single alignment in our hooping is going to be our 11 5/8. Is going to be our 7 7/8 by 14. Okay, so our 7 7/8 by 14, we refer to it as the 8 by 14. So this is going to be my single largest embroiderable field without having to do any extra to be able to stitch. But if you're a really keen eye and you looked here on the table when Jim was kind of showing this off, you would have probably noticed that I have this really huge hoop. And this is our 14 by 14. So this is the largest you can do in a single hooping. And the reason that this works is because it is a multi-directional hoop. If you look really close over on the side brackets here, you may notice that the brackets are about twice as long as what we've been seeing on the other hoops. And that's because you can put this hoop into the machine in one direction, stitch half of the design, take it out, rotate it, and stitch the other half, right? And it lines up perfectly for you. What's really cool about this hoop is if you have Baby Lock's Palette 11 software and you go through and you bring the design into that software and then you go in and tell it you're going to be using the 14 by 14 hoop, it will go in and split your design into, and then when you bring it into your machine, it's going to use the camera feature on your machine along with your positioning stickers to make sure that when you stitch part A, as soon as you go to flip and stitch part B, it's going to guarantee the lineup between the two sections. So you don't have to worry about lining up yourself. It's going to do it for you. So I love this. I love to do big embroidery. It's one of my favorite things in the world to do is big embroidery. And without this, I wouldn't be able to do it, right? So on my multi-needle, I like to do it on my multi-needle because I'm not having to change my thread, right? That's the big advantage there. I could do this definitely on my Radiance, right? Because we have that 11 5/8 by 18 1/4 hoop. Still not quite 14 by 14, right? We still have more real estate here, but I'm not having to change my needles. I'm not having to change my thread, and I love that. Okay, so those are the hoops that are kind of the basic hoops. Now, the 14 by 14 is an optional hoop. It doesn't come with the machine. The other ones do. So once we're going in and looking at how we use those hoops, we have to kind of figure out how they hook on to the machine itself. So if you look really close on the machine now, I have what's called the A-frame adapter. And I know it's the A-frame because we labeled it. It says A-frame here on the top of it. It also has white corner brackets that tells me it's the A-frame. So this frame is going to be the frame that I'm going to use with the hoops that come with the machine. So the hoops that come with the machine fit inside this, and this actual is a adjustable bracket. So if you look inside the machine here, and I'm actually going to pop actually, you know what? I'm just going to use the B-arm to show you. You also get the B-arm with your machine. Your B-arm is going to do your specialty hoops that you can purchase after you purchase your machine, your optional hoops. But if you look, there are thumb screws that are on the actual frame itself. If I loosen this thumb screw, this arm adjusts. And now what you can't feel, because this is TV, is that as I kind of slide this, it's dropping down into alignment positions. So there's basically like little valleys that it kind of sits down inside of. Each one of those valleys represents a different hoop size. So if I was doing the 14 by 14, because we would use this for our 14 by 14, I would pull it all the way out, tighten this down, and then this goes on the machine in place of the A adapter arm. So I'd put the B adapter arm at this point. To put the B adapter on, there are two smaller thumb screws that are here in the machine. There's one on the left and one on the right. And I would loosen those up, take those off, remove the A arm, and then replace it with the B arm. Use those same small screws to tighten the B arm in position. Okay, so it's really simple to change them out. And the A arm and the B arm are probably the two most commonly used adapter arms, but they're not the only adapter arms. So a few years ago, we introduced what absolutely is my all-time favorite hoop, and the hoop set that I use probably 99% of the time on my multi-needle, and that is our versatile magnetic hoop frames. And this is the smaller of the two. This is the 4x4, and then this is the 5x7. Okay, both of these actually have their adapter arms attached to them right now. We would take that off, but you can see if I look really close, my frame actually has an F on it, and then my adapter arm has an F on it. So this is my F adapter arm, and it only works, it only works for these two hoops. The reason I love these hoops so much is because these are kind of a hybrid hoop. These are a magnetic hoop, but they're also kind of a clamp hoop. So if you notice on the four corners, I have these little silver grasp. All I have to do is pull them and pop them off. If I do all four of them, you'll notice that it still stays together as a single hoop. And then all I have to do is lift this up. I can move my stabilizer and my fabric, get it all lined up, close this back down. And then here's the cool part. My magnets only fit in one way. So I'm not going to mess this up, right? All I have to do is just kind of put them in place and they fall right where they're supposed to go. So you can put this on the machine and leave it on the machine as you're hooping. If you're doing a project that has repeats in it, it makes it very simple. Okay, so that's why I really love these. These also are additional frames that are available for your machine. So going back over to the Venture 2, what makes the Venture 2 so, yes? I thought you had a question. Going back over the Venture 2, what are the differences between the Venture and the Venture 2? Well, with the Venture, we've introduced a couple of new things. Number one is we actually are including the narrow support table now with your machine. So what is the narrow support table? Well, on this, if I wanted to do something that had weight to it, I need to have something to support that weight. What I mean is I don't want the extra weight of a project to be pulling down on my adapter arm. I want it to have some way of holding it up. Now, old school days, we would go and find a bar stool or the back of a chair or even just stand there and hold it, right? But now we have tables that are going to help us with this. One is our wide table, and our wide table is still available for the Venture 2. But one of my favorites that now comes with the Venture 2 is what's called the narrow support or the tubular support table. Now, this may not look like much, but once you put this on, you'll see exactly how this is going to help. On the back of it, there actually is a little lever. If I pull that lever, you'll see this little box kind of pops out. So I'm going to pull that lever, and then I'm going to slide it over that free arm. Now you'll notice that I still have free arm capabilities at this point, right? Because I can drape fabric around this area still. And that's what's going to give me that extra support is now all of the extra weight that's out here is being supported by that tubular support table. What if I have something that's even bigger than what that is, right? Well, all I have to do is pull on the front of that tubular support table and it extends to double its length. And now anything that I have that's out here is also being supported by that tubular support table. So you could technically put this on and leave it on if you wanted to. I don't. I take it on and off because it's so simple, right? If I want to take it off, I just squeeze that same latch, pull forward, let it close, and then it stores flat, which I absolutely love. Okay, so that's one big change. Another change that you're going to have is that we've included the matrix feature on this machine. The matrix feature is one that's really cool, especially if you do a lot of things like freestanding laces or freestanding lace or patches or anything like that, to where you're going to be stitching the same exact thing multiple times, and you want to do it efficiently and quickly. So what I could do is come into my machine here, and if I go in, I'm just going to pick one of our designs. So I'm going to go into Baby Lock Exclusives. I'm going to go into Novelty and grab this little bow tie here, and I'm going to set that design. So now that's the design I want to do. And let's say that I want to fill my largest hoop with this. I want to fill that 8x14 hoop. All I have to do is go into my editing tools, which are all right here. And I'm going to go into my matrix copy down here, and I have to come in and say what hoop I want it to fill into. Now, the cool thing is I'm not telling the machine what hoop I'm going to use necessarily. I'm just telling it that I want it to use that hoop as a reference for filling it in. So if I use a smaller hoop, but then still stitch it in a bigger machine, that's perfectly fine. A bigger hoop, it's perfectly fine. But all I have to do is come in and say, hey, I want the A arm, and I want it to be in the 8x14, which is going to be my default one anyway, because it always goes to whatever your largest is on your A arm. You'll notice that this is going to give me 9 copies of that bow. And all I did was hit one button. And I absolutely love this, because not only does it put them here, but now once I set it, I can go ahead and hit edit end. It's going to tell me to change to a larger embroidery frame because I don't have this in the widest position. So I'm going to come over here, loosen this screw, loosen my smaller one, which is right beside it. I'm going to slide it out to that largest position because that's where it would need to be to hold that 8x14. I'm going to tighten it down. When I say OK here, what you're going to see is that if I hit edit in now, it recenters my arm because it's recentering on where that frame would be. And now if I come in, I could just hit my color sort feature. And now that will actually sort everything so that all 9 of those designs will stitch all of color 1, then all of color 2, then all of color 3. So even though I'm not having to change the thread here on my machine because I've got a multi-needle machine, I'm even making it easier and faster on my machine because I'm stitching all of each color before it moves to the next. So really simple feature, really productive feature. I love it. It's one that I use a lot because it's available on this machine as well as a couple of our other machines, but it really does make the process of stitching faster. Okay, if you don't have the matrix copy on your machine, you probably still do have the repeat or border key feature, and you can do the same thing with that. It's just not a one-click wonder, right? It's more you have to go in and program it, kind of like you saw Karen do whenever she was showing you the border key on her project where she was doing that outline of that specialty stitch character, right? The other features that we're going to be introducing on the Venture 2 is we have a couple of things that are going to put passcodes on your machine. So what I mean by that, I'm going to hit home here and just say OK to clear it out. If I go into my settings, now on my machine, you'll notice that down here at the bottom, there's this little black strip of icons. These are forever their icons. They're on every screen. If I touch this very first one, that's going to be my settings. If I navigate over, and I'm doing this upside down and backwards, so you would not be doing that. Did I pass it? There it is. If you go to page 9 of 11, you'll see these are new features that are introduced to the Venture 2. Now, we've introduced these on our Capella, which is where we first introduced them. And basically what this is going to give us 2 different options of putting passcodes on our machine. So these are like, think about if you have a computer, a laptop, and you have it to where after your computer goes to its screensaver, you have to enter a code or a password to be able to get that screensaver to shut down and open back up to your wherever you're working on. Kind of the same principle here. There's 2 different ones. If you look at the top, this is going to be my admin lock. And what my admin lock is it's going to be a code that's going to be required for me to be able to access the settings pages, right? And remember, the settings pages are where we can go in and make customizations and changes to our machine. So if we have that admin lock in place, the only people who can make those changes to settings will be those people with the admin lock itself. You're also going to see that underneath that, we have operator lock. Now, operator lock is more along the lines of once that screensaver kicks in, or if you turn the machine off and turn it back on, to get past that opening screen or past that screensaver screen, you're going to have that admin lock. So, I mean, that user lock. So the admin lock is 6 digits. The user's lock is 4 digits. Once you type in the 6-digit or the 4-digit, it will open up that process. So you can go in and actually make sure that no one can get into your machine other than you. You can also go in and make sure nobody can get into the settings other than you if you have those passcodes. So what is this really useful for? It's useful for someone who's got a business where they have people working for them and they want them to do only certain things on the machine. They don't want them to have a lot of freedom to go in and mess with the machine. But it's also used for the home user, right? So if the home user is going in and maybe you have little ones running around who like to go in and say, how many buttons can I touch on the screen? We could put a passcode on it, and that keeps them from being able to go in and unlock it, move it around, change the settings, what have you, okay? The other thing is down at the very bottom, you're gonna see that we actually have key optimization. Key optimization means that whenever I'm looking at the screen itself, I can actually turn different features on or off. So let's say, for instance, I'm gonna go into another situation where I have something that I purchased as a design and I've loaded it in, and I have people over at the house and I think they may want to try to grab my design that I paid for. I could literally turn the memory feature off so that they can't go in and save that design out to a USB. I can also go in and turn off things like the camera. I can turn off things like design categories, whatever I want. So you can customize each one of the screens in the machine itself. So lots of fun to kind of play around with here. And it can really help you to kind of streamline your process. So maybe there's a feature that you're not comfortable with yet, and you want to make sure you don't accidentally touch that feature to go in and try to use it. Simply go in and turn that feature off until you get ready to use it, okay? So other things to think about whenever you're in the machine is how easy is it to load designs in? Well, you've got USBs here. This is a fully Wi-Fi compatible machine, so you could use that. You could use wireless connectivity through the design database transfer program, which is free. So you can transfer designs there. You could also bring things in using palette software, those things as well. So lots of fun here. You can also use both of our apps that are available for a machine. So you've got the IQ Intuition positioning app as well as the IQ Intuition monitoring app. So both of those are available as well. So lots of options, lots of features on here. We have a ton of great video resources for training available on our SewEd platform. You can watch the Venture SewEd videos for now, and then we'll be putting Venture 2 up here shortly. You can also go back and watch things like the Capella or any of our other FreeArm machines, because anything that you see on those are going to transfer directly to this. This does have a high definition camera, so placement on this is super easy. It does have IQ Designer in it, so you can see the puppy sweatshirt that's over here on the side. That's something that Leah did, to where we took an art drawing, a line drawing, and we used the scan frame and took that picture in and scanned that in IQ Designer, turned it into an embroidery design, and stitched it on the sweatshirt. So lots of opportunities for creativity, lots of opportunity to have fun. And I hope that if you have any interest whatsoever in the multi-needle machines, that you stop and talk to your retailer while you're at the store today, or even down the road, and let them give you a demo of the machine. They are so much fun to operate, and they make a great companion if you already have a tabletop machine, okay? So like I said, if you have any questions, talk to your retailer. And for now, I'm gonna switch it back over to Linda, and she's gonna help us wrap up this session.
Yeah, thank you so much, Mike. I really loved all the fun hoops that you showed. I think that that's really where the venture shines, is so many different opportunities, the quickness of being able to put a design on a magnetic hoop and then whisk it off and get you set up. Like, there's real efficiency that is built up into that machine. So thank you very much. What I want to do now is showcase some of the items that are coming with the promo. And always, this is while supplies last, so you don't want to hesitate. If you're waiting for the perfect time to buy that machine, now is that time. So let's go over here. First, we do have this really nice multi-needle machine cover. You know, dust is not your friend when it comes to embroidery machines. You want to keep your thread clean. If you're not using your machine all the time, this is definitely the right tool to put over the machine itself. We do have this wonderful premium kit of baby lock stabilizers. This has been something that is coming also with the reflection, but I love these stabilizers. These are really good ones that you're going to use all the time. Next, we have this great dispenser where you can put a roll of stabilizer. It makes it easy to pull off exactly what you need. the Magna Glide. I love the fact that a multi-needle just can do so much embroidery, but to be able to have a really quick bobbin to slip in and out, there's no winding them. This comes with a gross of those bobbins. Again, we also have the Design Suite collection with all the lettering. And yes, this will be super fast to stitch out on a multi-needle, which is going to go from one thread color to the next. And then lastly, this is the over-the-door embroidery hoop hanger with all those hoops that are available for the multi-needle machine, to be able to have them set up in a place in your sewing studio where you can grab them quickly. It's really a huge benefit. And so I love this. It also comes with these beautiful over-the-door hanger hooks that go right into the grommets on top. So wonderful set to be able to go with your new machine. So we're at that point of the broadcast where we have our final time we're going to play the prize video. Take it away, Patty, and we'll have Julie come on. Popular person, because you're just giving things away.
Yes,
everybody likes to win. All right. So what retailer is being featured this time?
So our last one today is Be Sew In in their Tulsa, Oklahoma location. So pick a lucky winner at your store, and congratulations, and we'll send that prize out to you.
All right. Very good. Thank you so much, Julie. All right. So we are right at the end of our broadcast. I know that we've had wonderful demonstrations. I want to first of all welcome Mike back up on to the set, and thank you so much. You did a great job demonstrating them. It's almost like you've done this before.
Maybe once.
Maybe once. You're a good. Actually, we did film a lot of videos with you, and I really like with the Venture and the Venture 2. What we do is quick, like get right to it videos. So if you're not a patient person, like that describes me, and if you want to get right to doing caps, or how to load in your first design, or how to manage color on that machine, you did little videos, and I think everybody will really like those.
Yeah, and absolutely. And all of the machines that we've talked about today, if you're on that Sewed platform, right, if you take a machine home today, you get that 60 days free trial. If you decide to sign up for Sewed so that you have continued access to that, don't limit yourself to just watching the videos on that particular machine. Watch all of the videos, right? Go back and look. If there's a feature that you are interested in, if it's not on the machine that you're looking for it on, that feature still works the same way. So if you just search for that feature, watch it on whatever machine it is that it comes up on.
Good point. Especially like in the case of like the Splendor, if you end up taking home a foot kit, then what you could do is actually watch the foot kit videos for any of our 8-thread sergers, because they all work the same, while we're in the process of recording new content, which is always coming, because we're always adding to our Sewed library. All right. Well, I just want to say, in closing, that this has been a wonderful afternoon spent with our retailers and with some of our favorite baby lock educators. I want to especially thank Lori Hernandez for her demonstration on the Splendor. She did a great job. Also, we had Barb Lewis on the Anthem.
Karen Parker on the Reflection. And then, of course, Missy coming in and doing the special.
Yeah, she did a great job. And then you too, Mike. So as always, we could never do these broadcasts without a whole slew of people. So my thanks very much to Patty Marty, who's been running our cameras for us, the switcher, making sure that you're seeing all of the content. Leah Ralph on our team, who's been managing the chat and just kind of making sure everything's going well. Julie, obviously, coming out and giving away the store. Thank you, Julie. Emily Dameron, also with Baby Lock Marketing, who's here making sure that we're all behaving ourselves. Sorry, Emily, we can't most of the time. And also Leslie Palich, who works at Tacony Corporation with us. He's a great videographer. And then, as always, Jim Hinderer, who is the man behind the camera. Every single time that we're doing any videos, he dances well, and he sings too, if you ever get a chance. Yes. So anyway, I want to thank everybody. And also, lastly, and the most important, is all of our Baby Lock retailers who've been hosting this event at your store. Thank you so much. And for all of the lucky customers who were here today, I hope you enjoyed yourself, got inspiration. And if you do go out to that Baby Lock Sewed platform, watch videos on machines maybe you've got a lot of questions about. It could be that Seshiko is just the machine for you.
And ask the retailers for demos, because that's the best way to learn the machines. And they will absolutely be more than happy to show you anything that they can on the sales floor.
No doubt. All right. Well, thanks so much, everybody. It's been a great afternoon. Stay warm, and don't forget to set your clocks back and get an extra hour of sleep.
Oh, yes.
Yay.
That's a good thing.
Yay. All right.
Thanks, everybody.
Thanks so much. Bye-bye.